YouTube said, "Fuck you." We're all
Did it
live,
really say
live
that?
streaming.
Well, it says we're live. Please try again. Playback ID.
Someone in the
Playback
comments,
again.
so far, what a great stream.
Fucking fire. So it's reloading, I think. Let me try it. See, it says in stream up top. And I just got an email saying we're live.
I'm on looking, seeing if we are live.
Yeah.
Hit the button, hit the button, hit the button.
Be patient with us, people. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, I think we're live.
It says RDX live.
All right.
Woo!
Holy shit. Okay, so we're 100%. Let me get into my. This is gonna be a wonky. We can't recover. I can't backflip and land on my feet on this one. All right, so give me a second here to get to my channel here. I needed time to grab a water and everything. I'm dying.
I don't see us live, bro.
Yeah, we're live. All right, boom.
It's like
Let me reduce that. Zalker, entertain the people.
Hello, everybody.
All right, that's
sorry
enough
that
of
dealer is
Zalker.
a
I'm so
fraud.
sorry I did that to you guys in the chat. But Zalker's my best friend ever. Hey,
Dealer also lies to you a lot.
every single day.
We know his best friend is his cat.
Hey, Colt Eastwood,
said you waited.
Cultist
channel.
Eastwood, Scroat Eastwood, Colt Driftwood. He's not here this week. So we are down a Colt Eastwood, but we are up a special guest that we're bringing back for a little nostalgia era time. Again, guys, okay, we're back. We are on. I see the chat. I see everything working. And did not expect that. By the way, shout out to Beaner. Says RDX podcast so good it makes you want to slap your mama. Thank you. Do appreciate it. So again, guys, thanks for rocking out with RDX podcast. Holy fuck, I just spilled some water. We're gonna do some introductions. We're gonna do some shout outs. We got a lot of great topics today. In particular, we're talking about velocity architecture finally being fully detailed by Jason Ronald. And you know what? There are so many people that don't know anything about how any of this stuff works talking about this that we're going to have a field day. And I cannot wait to do that. So it's going to be a blast. Again, we've got
We're
Tim.
not live, bro.
Yeah, we're not live, man.
We're not live. I've told you, man. I'm saying it's still saying waiting for Dealer Gaming. Everybody in chat saying we don't hear or see anything. It's just waiting for Dealer Gaming. I'm telling you, bud. I'm refreshing it. I'm doing it on multiple browsers to be sure.
We're
It's not
live. We're definitely live. I see the chat. I see everybody talking.
I see people talking, but we are not. People can't hear us.
We're live.
Somebody go to the link.
There's two different streams. That's why one is not live, the other is.
Yeah, we're live in one for sure. I just heard Zocker say we're not live, bro.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Hang on.
Yep, I see it there.
Well, you know what? I'm
like
talking on the one that is live, so that's what matters.
Yeah, we're live.
So let me go to my YouTube studio here, and let me try to rip this other one
we
down.
are in a different one.
Stupid little.
There,
Yeah,
I found
there's
it. We're
two.
live now.
Mm-hmm.
I see
We've
it.
been live for a while.
There's two of them. We're cloned.
All right, let me clone that.
No 3,000 tonight.
Wow, Tim.
Waiting there.
And I'm
Tim's
going
priorities, bro.
He said no 3,009.
Way to go, dealer, you dick.
All right, we're going to delete that
Totally
one.
botched it.
Let's try to delete that one.
It's crazy though.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what's going on there,
Two
guys.
streams.
Hopefully, I didn't just delete the one we're on. I'm 100% sure that I didn't, but with YouTube doing this, who knows, right? So,
No, we're still live.
again, guys, I just want to thank everybody, again, for joining us live, since I never know what's happening. RDX podcast crawling out of the casket inside of a casket this week from last week. We are actually live. We're doing it live. And you know what? Thanks for joining us live. Hit the like button, share it out. We're really going to need your help with some shares today because we have 500 streams apparently. Enjoy the Batman Arkham. Okay. Cooler. Sorry, buddy. I can't, email popped up. Anyway, Batman Arkham, night footage. I needed some emergency footage today. We're running a little late on time. So again, enjoy the footage. We are going to be talking about velocity architecture, a ton of stuff, new game studios, etc., interviews. And again, thanks for rocking out with us. Hey, Zalker, how you been, buddy? Tell our people how you been.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Waiting for Ghost of Tsushima this Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm happy that we're finally live. And Tim is disappointed that we're not going to hit 3,000. But you know what, Tim? Get your priorities straight, all right? All right? You better go get that RDNA 17 before you start talking shit.
Did you guys see that video of Ghost of Tsushima? It's like,
oh my god. The fucking flute thing. It's so stupid, bro.
What the hell?
That game's gonna be fire. I don't care.
Yeah, I can't wait, man.
Just like you said, Last of Us 2 was, right?
This is
I'm just
different,
joking.
soccer. This is different.
No, shout out to Chaos Mike. He says, Zalker sucker and y'all, and they're thinking you're not live. We also got Humble Beast. Remember, guys, the shorter these are, the easier I can get to them, and the more likely I'm going to get to them. But Humble Beast says, if Xbox Series X or if Xbox acquires WB, why should set IP multiplat for Matt to get? I mean, what the hell? Yeah, market share. I'm guessing that's what that is. Exclusive. Guys, remember that I'm of the mind that they would probably lock a lot of that stuff down to their service. That's kind of the point of increasing their portfolio, is to make you want to actually subscribe to Game Pass. Nano Polymath says you're live. Thank you so much, sir. He says he's ready for some POV. Oh my God, yeah, your tweet earlier, funny. And then we've got, let me get to Game Bread real quick. Game Bread 2, he says, when RDX on Tuesday? No way. Hope the panel is doing well as everyone in the chat. Shout out to you, buddy. And shout out to the chat, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. All might, everybody in the chat. Thank you. Hey, Zalker, you're doing great. Fonzarelli, how you been?
I've been doing good now that I'm unmuted. But yeah, I've been doing good, man. I'm just happy for the show. Let's just get on to the show. Just everybody else introduce themselves and stuff, and let's just get right into it. We're late.
You're late. How about that? Hey, we have also got D-Batch, brother. How you been?
I'm good, and I'm going to use my allotted 5 minutes for my intro, so fuck you, Fonz. No, I'm doing great, man. We got some
talented.
We got some fantastic topics today. I don't know about Dealer, but I'm chomping at the bit to get into it. We got some really juicy details that really benefit the Xbox Series X. I can't wait to hit the topic, so let's go.
We've also got xCloud, Tim Dog. How you been?
I've been good. Happy to be here. Let's get to it. We got a good show. We're going to be hit a lot of topics, so I'm ready to go. Like Fawn says, let's get to it.
All right, and then we've got So Shady filling in for Cultist Eastwood today. How you been, buddy? Good to have you back on the show.
Hey, thanks, man. It's damn good to be back. It's been since beginning of March since I've done a podcast, actually. Since the pandy hit, I decided to take some time to myself and those close to me. And there was just a lot of rumor and speculation circulating at the time, whereas now we've got a lot of stuff coming out, 9 days to be specific, until true greatness awaits. I'm very hyped to be here, man. Nothing greater than having my return show back where it all started with the RDX crew. You guys have put on a phenomenal show every week, and my God, have you expanded since I've left? You're like 400% growth. Gotta love it, man. Let's get to it.
I'm getting a bunch of pictures on Twitter. People sending me pictures of their TV. It's working. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, we do appreciate it, guys. Again, if you hit the like button, tell a buddy. We got a ton of topics, and let me get to those damn things because, again, I'm all out of whack. We've got them right here. So let me give a few shout-outs to the shout-outs here real quick. All Might, we've got Goose8402 and DT Baggins. That's what I got to call you. We've also got Straw Hat Killer, Bad Boy Live, Snake Eyes, Assassin Lupa, Alec Gamer 4, Frost Did That Shit, Tony Stark RDX, KY Bob for an Object, Gab Queese, Teo, John Blue, Vec Boss, Deviator X, Obi-Wan FTW, Scout Trooper 74, Real Deal Neil, Suicide King, Tasteless Genie. We've also got Michael Bowen. We've got Guillermo Cavillo, Chanagram, Naughty Nub and Alfonso Hogan, A Squad, and Slim 73. And shout out to Heisenberg, by the way. I told him I'd do that. Again, guys, links down below if you want to support the Patreon. Sony, real quick. I figured we'd let people stream in, but I'm just a clusterfuck today. Sony buys a stake in Epic Games shortly after their PlayStation 5 Epic Unreal Engine 5 tech demo hit. Some people were saying, Epic were a little cozy with Sony. Did you think anything was up? We were like, I don't know. Turns out they bought 1.5% of Epic Games for $250 million. Zalker, I mean, is there any correlation here at all to you, buddy? Is there a reason they're kind of sticking up for the PS5 right now, saying it can easily do 60 FPS on Unreal Engine 5, even though we had already said that it could do that? They just had the resolution too high?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little funny. I mean, obviously Sony's a massive company, so they're going to invest in what they think is right, but it was a little weird that they were like very cozy with each other, and then all of a sudden now it's like, oh, $250 million will make you fucking cozy, I guess. I don't know. But, you know, the Unreal Engine 5, like a lot of, the thing I don't like is everybody's like, oh, this is PS5, but far more people on the Xbox side, developers use that engine. And it's, you know, that's what Gears is on. You know, there's a lot of people that use that engine, and I don't see Sony using it that much. Maybe they will now because they invested in it. Maybe a couple of their developers or, you know, studios that they're going to be, maybe acquiring, who knows, will start using that. But
they're going to buy 1.5% of, like, what? Fucking, I don't know, Rebellion? I mean, what else do you think they're going to invest in? What's going on here? Why aren't they buying all studios? What's going on with the Warframe thing?
You know, I think that Warframe thing's a little weird. I know it's expensive, and when you're launching a new console, you don't have a lot of capital to just start spending out of nowhere. I think that Sony is investing a lot in gaming because PlayStation is their moneymaker, or Sony is. And I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with the Warframe thing. I know there's a lot of talks about it, but I think it's more of a reaction to what Xbox and a lot of other industry is doing. Like Xbox, if they buy Warframe, I expect Xbox to really try to get Warner Brothers.
They won't. No one's allowed to buy Warframe except for Tencent right now. They have it locked down for an exclusive 3-month bidding period. No one else is allowed to do it. So
I want those
if
loot
anyone's
boxes.
buying them, it's Tencent. So
Tencent ain't fucking around.
No, they're not, and they don't have their name all over stuff. They like to do things kind of behind the scenes and shadows. That the company just doesn't want its name everywhere because then everyone's aware of them and starts to kind of put up shields against some new $1 trillion company or what have you, buying everything up. One that isn't run by the West, if you will.
I mean, so basically, I mean, Sony are investing in some odd things. I mean, there were some rumors going around about the WB thing, and people were talking about Sony buying them. They don't have the capital. Like, I don't think people understand that Sony's gaming division especially doesn't have the capital to just outright buy them. They would literally have to get a loan. So Sony are not a likely contender. And I was told I could even make a video on this, but I had talked to somebody about the WB thing, and they said that they were hearing that it was actually the paper was being signed from Microsoft. Take that with a grain of salt. But I'm just throwing out what I heard, and you know, I don't know. Tim, you might have something to add to it. I don't know. I mean, I know you. After we talked, and I saw you start to post on Twitter, be a little fuckboy.
This is Colt telling him, and that's why he disappeared. So Dealer will disappear probably in 5 seconds.
Definitely was not cultist.
I know. I'm joking. Come on.
No, I mean, I've heard, you know, they're definitely in it. As far as how far they're in it, or how long, or how close it is, probably a ways away. It'd probably take time. They probably are just they're definitely a bidder, probably, as the report said. And you know, like I've heard what you said, and I've heard just my other, you know, just ways of kind of getting feelers and stuff. I think they're definitely in on it, but it's not something where I'd say is definitely going to happen. It's just something more or less I would hope it happens. It's really, I think it's a really smart buy for Xbox, and it really is something that could just really just push that. It's something that can move the needle and just push everything to a different level. And as far as like their studios, I would think that they would even be done. You know, you're going to have, you know, I'm sure they wouldn't take everyone, or they would condense some of it, but you'd have approximately, you know, 23 studios, and they're all making video games for Xbox.
Hashtag 2020 by 2020, 2020, right?
And I think that's lowballing it. I believe I heard Rand say that WB Studios is actually 15 studios on its own,
Right.
but a lot of those are support studios and what have you. But I mean, if that's 15 studios, support or not, Microsoft all of a sudden is sitting at like 30 to 35, and that's just the studios, let alone the multiple teams. You end up with like 50 teams making games. It's unheard of. If they were to make that,
they would absolutely dominate the market, and that is true. They do have a lot of, like, in San Francisco, Boston, all these like other places, Montreal, like these smaller, New York, these smaller like companies that help them build the game. So like they'll just be like, hey, Rocksteady needs help. They'll assign San Francisco to help them. or
That's
just
right, you're
whoever,
right.
right? And that's
And Microsoft does that. They farm out a lot of external work.
Oh, yeah,
for
they
things
farmed
like
out-
Halo and Gears and
Halo-
stuff like that all the
Halo-
time.
the arena thing for Sea of Thieves was farmed out to a small company not small, but a development company that's like 30 minutes away from Rare.
So
And
something
they-
like
and they
these
help
small
them.
studios could, from WB, if the acquisition were to go through, they might not have to go outside of their own
Right.
umbrella at all, which would be massively
Right.
beneficial
Yeah, and
for just being
I-
able to keep tabs on people.
And this makes it like sound really like, they were talking about the mic drop thing. We heard that, but honestly, if you've listened to like Phil or Matt Booty in their like interviews lately, they don't want to give shit away. Like they've said it like, oh, we're not going to talk about it because we have that event coming. Like they've said that multiple times because it sounds like they're trying to make this event something that's going to be memorable. And something like this, if what Dealer's saying about it being signed,
Bambi's back,
like whoever-
bitch.
if
This-
it's being signed, like that's something that will, if it is being signed or whatever, you never know. Take it with a grain of salt, everybody. But if it is being
Yeah.
signed, that's something that they will announce at the event, and it'll be a fuck you moment for a while. Like I honestly,
This deal really needs to go down though, because the fact that they have Game Pass, if they get these studios
Ooh.
and they acquire the licenses, wow, I really see Game Pass going through the roof. And just to touch on a little bit on the Epic thing, I think a lot of people, and myself included, I kind of lost track of that. I think the deal that Sony has with Epic is really going to benefit them also on the PC side. I think it's a way for them to get their games on the PC market, and I think we're going to see a lot of games in the Epic Store. Perhaps the PlayStation games might even be Epic Store exclusives. So, yeah, more things to
and
come.
that would
from
be
that deal.
huge for Epic. That would be massive for Epic if they have the God of War or whatever, like the next one, or all those first party studios that people want to play on PC, like from Sony. Like, yeah, that would be massive on PC, and
I think it's
Epic
more
would
than
have the
just video
exclusive of
games
that.
too. Like the Unreal Engine was used for all of the green screen work in The Mandalorian on the Disney Channel. And Sony makes movies and they make TV shows. So maybe they're investing in this technology in this company
Right.
that is getting its foot into Hollywood where Sony already is. And they're going to start using Unreal Engine in some of their movies or some of their TV shows as well. And, if they own 1.6 or whatever it is % of the company, they do get that % profit. So Microsoft loves using the engine. All of a sudden, every first party Xbox game, a little cut is going towards Sony, and there's a lot of guys that they get a kick out of that. It doesn't mean anything to me. This is how big business works. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But I think it's an investment, really. I think it was in 2013, Tencent again, they invested $330 million into Epic. And at the time, that was worth 40% of the company.
Yep.
$330 million was worth 40%. Today, $250 million is worth 1.7% or 1.6. So it's such a huge difference. And I think Sony was looking at that staggering profit that Tencent has made there. That's ridiculous. And if I've heard rumors that Tencent is prepping themselves to just buy on Epic outright at some point, and Tim Sweeney walks away a multi-billionaire in the process, and Sony's their value goes up with it. So I think it's just a big investment where they get to make some money off of the industry in general that uses the engine, and then also they can maybe start using that technology in Hollywood as well as profiting off of other studios.
Yeah, they showed the Mandalorian that like as they're acting in the Mandalorian, like they're doing post production as they're filming the film.
That's right.
Like they're saving
lighting
millions
from the screen.
Yeah,
like the
it's
sun
amazing.
It was really cool, and I'd imagine it would be so much easier for the actors to be able to turn around and see what the audience is apparently seeing, as opposed to just a green screen. That is like ultimate make believe, playing on a green screen as an actor. So I think this would be awesome for them to do their craft. And I think it's neat just how a video game engine that we've all been using for a decade plus is now all of a sudden responsible for some of the special effects we see in movies and cinema. That's fantastic. It tells me we're going to be playing games of that caliber soon. I'm hyped.
Let me go ahead and change the course of the boat away from movies and shows.
That was the Epic engine. It's just the Epic engine in general, or the Unreal Engine. I think that's why Sony did it, was for gaming profit and then Hollywood
I'm
profit
fucking
as
with
well. Because it's
I'm
now
just
being used
fucking
for
with you,
everything.
Shady.
Well, damn, man.
And
I feel like
somebody
I
told me
have
not to tell any bug snack jokes, so I got wiener hands, bitch.
Bugsnax.
So,
I'll be eating nothing but bananas and coconuts.
I don't know
to
what the
get
deal
my
is. Like my last video, like it's one of my few like kind of rant videos. Yeah, it was all over the place, whatever. But people's like, oh my god, like acting like this is all I do. It's like, God, you guys are fucking Jesus. could have just not did shit, I guess.
You're so toxic,
Been
bro.
boring as fuck. Not taking the time to get a Tinder profile picture made for Phil for his little profile in the video and everything. I mean, you know, it's the little things that count. And I went above and beyond. And the first thing I saw was, man, you guys, you're starting to just be bug snacks. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But anyways, I guess motherfuckers didn't watch the back half of that video where, yeah, and I'm ranting right now. Where I basically just praised him, said, hey, you don't got to bash all this shit. Like, yeah, I tell jokes about it and I make fun of certain things, but at the end of the day, man, it's like the best hobby ever. And people bitching because they didn't watch a damn video. It's like, you're not even informed on what the fuck was said. And you're sitting there bitching about something. So, again, thanks to those that did watch it.
The overall message lost.
Overall message lost. Fonz did watch it, though, and I think he might have enjoyed it. Fonz, you probably don't have a whole lot to say. You probably don't have much to say on this. This little Sony thing we're talking about is very small. It's supposed to be the very first thing, but if you got something to say on that, go ahead, and then we'll move forward.
No, nothing at all.
All right. Did you know that Phil Spencer is talking... Again, we got so many topics. The second topic is going to be studios. Because there's so much more left after that. It's great. So Phil Spencer is doing even more rounds here, and he's talking about how there's no sign of slowing down at all for studio acquisitions. A lot of people thought they were done. A lot of people just hadn't heard nothing, so they forgot that they're actually constantly actively hunting talent. And apparently Phil Spencer and the crew have been acquiring some developers. I would expect to hear about this at the July event, right? What is that? Thursday, right, Fonz?
Next Thursday.
Yep. We'll definitely
okay, next Thursday.
Thursday for sure. You know, that it just makes the whole WB thing kind of just like, you know, you raise an eyebrow at, you know, because it's just it's crazy, the timing and him saying that they're really going aggressively after different companies and stuff. I personally just want to know exactly like what these companies are going to bring to the table. The 15 that they got already, I still want to know more on what they are bringing to the table. We do know some, but
Games.
you know, I want to see these games already. Like, I don't care anymore about more acquisitions. I want to see games now, you know.
Then they acquire CD Projekt Red, and you're like, oh my god, I'm a fraud.
Oh yeah. But we know what they bring to the table. You know, they bring quality, high quality stories, gaming.
Well, we all want games, and studios bring games. So I'm almost just excited to learn about those.
It depends, though. It depends on what studios they are, what type of games they are. For me, anyway. Again, gaming's a selfish hobby, and it's got to be about me here. And I got to see what these companies are bringing for me.
Yeah, you just need stuff that goes right into Game Pass, right?
Oh, yeah, I'd love that. Right into Game Pass, because, you know, I'm a cheap bastard.
Hey, Justin Maroney, real quick, he says, hell yeah, So Shady's in the house. P.S. Please thank Colt for letting you do his show without him. Yep. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I just wanted to thank all the agents of the Sesh Empire. Sorry, I don't want to be typing in the chat all night thanking everyone and saying hi and stuff. So thank you all for coming out and for the awesome response on Twitter. No one told me to go fuck myself, stay away. We don't want you back in the community, which was nice. There was a lot of positivity.
Just because you're not attacking a young lady with an Xbox.
That's all it takes.
You must have missed my DMs, bitch.
Some call me infamous, some call me famous, what have you. But no, the reaction was great. It was nice to see when you take that time off and you're coming back, you're not too sure what's going to happen, and it was nice that it was positive. So shout out to all the agents that have come out to say hi. I appreciate that. It's awesome.
Yeah, and people make mistakes, people do things, and time passes, and as an adult, you got to reassess people. No one person is frozen in time. So
that's right. The real mistake is not learning from your mistakes, man.
Exactly.
So,
right.
Let's do our best.
Darj Knight, by the way, he says, have a great show, people. He said it's bedtime for little old Darji. He's the crumpet lord. Hashtag.
You have to drive him around the block.
Hashtag Zalker's lame.
Night, Darj.
I just show love to him so much.
Instead of driving the little guy around, you put on your washing machine or drying machine and stick him in the car seat on that. My mom told me she used to do that to kids that she used to take care of way back, and they would go out like a light. Otherwise, they needed to also be driven around in a car for a nap. So give that a shot, man. Stick him on the washing machine. You might be out in 2 minutes.
But again, yeah, I got a lot of people saying hi and stuff in the chat too, guys. Thank you so much, Grey Wolf. We just have 8 days until the event. Yes, sir. Keep counting. I can only count to 2. I just do it a lot, and that's how I count. We've also got another one, Cheesy McSqueezy. You got a novel here for me. He says for the July event. He says for the July event, What if they do the presentation in the type of roadmap? They go, yeah, they're not going to do any of that stuff. They're going to have like kind of like Sony's basically, right? Tim, would you say?
Yeah, it's gonna probably exactly similar to that. Hopefully this at the same production level too, because as I said previous show, they spent a lot of money, Sony, on that show. So I'm expecting a much better show than obviously that Xbox showed in whatever May. Yeah, this is gonna be this is gonna basically be E3, but digitally, and I would expect the presentation to be good. Hopefully, we get a 4K stream that's actually good and works, and we don't have to watch the videos after the fact. But yeah, it's going to be of that quality, I would think. As far as that level, but I don't think it's going to exceed that.
They should have an emphasis on the frame rate there at their event,
Yeah.
and if that's correct, then they absolutely need to stream that at 60 everywhere. Z Black Rider says, "Yo, peeps, what's going on, brother? Good to see you in here." Hey, let me move forward here, though. Again, we want to see acquisitions. We want big games. We've been asking for big games for literally years.
Big games.
And, big games. That's what we want. We want some big games. I saw your toilet talker skit at the end of your last video, Fonz. I was dying. That's what your voice reminded me of there. So, let me go ahead and...
about that interview there, Dealer. Sorry. The
Yes,
interview was Phil
Shady.
talking about how, we're not slowing down. We haven't been told from up top anything.
They didn't tell him to stop running next to the pool. Yeah.
I like the timing because it was actually like 3 or 4 days after all the big media had been reporting that Microsoft was looking at WB. So Satya and them are obviously aware they're looking at WB. And Phil does this interview saying, yo, no one's even looking at the brake pedal. If anything, it's hit the gas. I thought that was great timing because everyone knew about the possible WB thing. And then we've got Phil coming out here going, we're going full on for studio acquisitions. And they likely have been looking for, the better part of the last year and a half since the last round. And then with WB coming completely out of nowhere, I think that's just a bonus. So if the WB thing happens, we're still going to get other stuff on top of that. I thought the timing was just brilliant.
There are a few mega publishers and teams that if Microsoft pass up, I would equate it to them passing Twitch.
Yeah.
It would be that kind of mistake. And WB, there's a lot of good talent there, Rocksteady, etc. I mean, it doesn't matter what they're working on.
Monolith.
Even Monolith. They need quality developers, so they need even more.
And they're in the position to spend that type of money. It's not going to put them into something weird where all of a sudden, if it goes wrong, they're bankrupt and gone. Like they have the ability to do it, and it's such
honestly, Shady.
no-brainer.
They can make their money back with Mortal Kombat alone. All
pretty
right?
much.
They could.
Pretty
Well,
much.
they have Lego. They have so much.
Oh, shit.
The one thing like that we talked about even when we did is that Warner Brothers is making money. So the whole entity of Warner Brothers within AT&T is making money. So it's a profitable business. So you're getting that right off the bat. And obviously with Xbox even leveraging it, you'd probably see even more money. So it makes a lot of sense. And one of the things too I mentioned last show is that Xbox, even though you would think that they would have everything, they still are actively looking for artists. A lot of times they recruit artists. One of them was a really good one from for the upcoming RPG for Playground. I think his LinkedIn is, I put it out there. I think his name, forgot his name, but they are looking for artists, developers in the worst way. And if they get the Warner Brothers, like we talked about, they also have a bevy of artists that they could just interject, even if they do condense some of those smaller studios or whatever. They can, inject some of those artists to the 15 studios that they have existing. So it makes a lot of sense on a lot of levels.
I'm with Dealer. If they pass this up, it's easily akin to, or even bigger than missing out on Twitch, because we already know what WB does. Whereas when Twitch was initially bought, it was big, but nothing like today. It was hard to see how huge it was going to get. But we know WB is big, and they can't let something like this fall into someone else's hands.
Yeah, they can't. We got to let a different topic fall into our hands. It's the best segue I can think of right now. We're going to go ahead and move forward past some potential studio acquisitions. If you missed it, tune in when the show uploads. But short and sweet, we're expecting to have some announcements. Microsoft has been pretty vocal and we are excited, of course, for the future of software. Real quick, this is a small one, but a good one. There were some next generation game cases shown off, right? And I guess the thing on Twitter now is everyone just bitches about what everyone else is doing without actually saying shit. Like, that's all I see when I go down. I'm like, God, a bunch of fucking whining ass motherfuckers on Twitter.
That's just Twitter in general.
Yeah, I swear, like, I only bitch about what motherfucker over here is doing. Game cases for Spider-Man, I think, was showing off. It's blue on white. I guess they're just reusing the Blu-ray case. Makes sense. And Xbox, it looks the same, but it's just got an Xbox logo across the top. And paper artwork, it'll say Xbox One and Xbox Series X. And, of course, that'll phase out in time. But, I mean, they even managed to make some drama out of that, D-Batch.
Unbelievable. Why does it have the optimized for Xbox Series X? Like, come on, man. Unbelievable. Of course they're going to tout the features of the system. Listen, I hate to say it, and every time I say this, I get hate. Oh, you're a PlayStation hater, just for stating the facts. The Xbox Series X is the more capable system, so they should be touting the features of the games on their system, because the fact is, all the now we can debate exclusives to see who's going to have the better exclusives, but the multiplats, they're all going to look and run better on the Xbox Series X, and they should tout it on their cover. I don't understand. If you're not invested in the brand, why the fuck do you care?
What do you mean? Like, they shouldn't show people that it's for their new system as well?
I don't know. If Sony was doing this, saying, "Oh, I don't know, SSD speed's not capable on any other device," these guys wouldn't be saying shit. You know, like, it's just give it a rest.
They're already guilty. Look at Red Dead Redemption 2 when it launched. Every Sony case had a gigantic exclusive sticker, and then little text you needed a magnifying glass to read, and it was just the DLC items that were exclusive. Every company is going to do something to draw your eye to that product, especially if it's something that it is doing that the other versions aren't. So it is what it is. PlayStation should maybe get some PlayStation Enhanced titles going.
Yeah.
What do the PlayStation guys always say? Demand better.
Well, here's my question about the PlayStation 5 games, right? Microsoft, as you know, and this is better for business, it's better for the consumer. You're not forced to actually like if I had to buy a new phone every single year, that would really piss me off. Like, not even because of the money, but because I know these applications can run on my old phone or my year-old phone, right? Or whatever. Point is, imagine having to upgrade your phone when the new one came out, no matter what. That's basically what they're doing, because they're launching with games that, so far that we can tell, there's no game design philosophy at all in any of these games except for Ratchet and Clank that would force you to actually have to leverage something like an SSD to enable the actual gameplay. Other than that, Gran Turismo looks like it could run on a PS4. Spider-Man looks like it can run on a PS4. They're beautiful, don't get me wrong. I never said they weren't good looking, but they do look like PS4 games, very good looking ones at launch, and games will get better and better looking as time goes. But bottom line is, games that can run on older hardware will run on older hardware on the Xbox. They will scale. Game design limited through CPU, hard drive, SSD, etc. That will not scale. The game will not be available on that older platform. Sony, you're taking games like Gran Turismo and saying, well, that we know of, not available on PS4. And it's kind of weird.
I just talked about that yesterday, and like, man, I gotta admit, yesterday gamers got me all messed up, man. Like, I just couldn't take it anymore. I went into a rant mode, and it's just unbelievable the damage control of these guys, thinking that the DLC, because it's basically glorified DLC, the Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yes, it is.
It is. And they're all telling me, no, this could not run on the PlayStation 4. And it's like, bro, this game was created on the PlayStation 4. It's
exactly.
Let D get his little rant out.
Like, I don't understand.
It's the same engine.
Then I had somebody say to me, "Oh, ray tracing is on there." This and it's like, listen, there's games on the PC. Battlefield has fucking ray tracing on PC. It doesn't have ray tracing on console.
Hey, can you turn that off on PC? Right? Is that how that works?
It's just the stupidity. Like, just be honest and say, listen, I'm a fanboy and I want Sony to sell as many consoles as possible. And you know what? This is a slimy way to do it, so I'm all for it. Just say that, because the game can run on the PlayStation 4. There's no reason for them to take that game and not run it on the PlayStation 4. And that's one of the instances that Phil was talking about, that once again he was taken out of context, and I'm just going crazy. Okay, I'm done.
Well, look, you hear people all the time say, why would you upgrade for Halo when you can play Halo Infinite on your system now? I fully expect the performance and the visual difference on the Series X version of Halo Infinite to be that much better than the version I can play right now. And that's why I want to upgrade to it, because I want to play the best looking and playing version. And I wish that Sony did that with Spider-Man. If you want the best ray
Well,
traced out of its
they-
mind Spider-Man, buy the new console. But if you want that DLC and you have a PS4, you can buy it as well. I think that is so much more
Exactly.
consumer friendly, and they just went, well, asshole with it, really. It was like, too bad, buy this. And you don't have to. We're
Yeah.
making it's like an artificial walled garden that Sony
Paywall.
is still perpetuating.
It's honestly like a $400 to $500 paywall because
Yes.
this game. I'm sorry, this was originally going to be DLC for the PS4. I don't care what anybody tells
Well, they've
me.
already called it
That
a
is-
smaller, self-contained experience. Yeah.
The developers have already said that this was basically the assets from the first game, and they added some stuff to the PS5. Look, it's the same. It was going to be DLC. It's obvious.
That doesn't mean it's
Like,
not
what they
fun
did
or
here-
good, though,
Standalone
right?
DLC. for God's sake.
The developers have came out and said that this game is a 5-hour standalone game. How
Yeah,
is a
baby.
standalone game 5 hours?
Are they asking
I-
$60
come
for
on.
that? Or the
You
new
never-
You never
DLC.
played the Order
I think it'll be
1886?
40. I think it'll be 40, but
Yeah, it could be $30-$40, but still, at the end of the day, that just screams DLC. It just further proves that this thing wasn't going to be a PS5 game to begin with. I'm sorry, they were scrambling for games at launch for the PS5, and they took this Miles Morales DLC and said, "Hey, boom, standalone, just like Lost Legacy. Let's do it."
Well, I
You know,
think
I
the
have to-
visual
let me
jump
jump in. Let me
isn't
jump in on
enough
this real
to-
quick.
to-
Let me jump in
Shady,
on
you
this
gotta
real quick,
back
so-
off of it.
Hold
Let me
on.
Sacker
Sorry,
have
let
his
me
little.
jump in.
It's
Let me jump in. Hold on. So, like, the one thing I've heard is that people are going to get confused if there's two consoles, right? Like, this is going to confuse consumer. This is going to confuse consumer. That's all I've seen, like, around, like, forums, Twitter, anywhere, like, even other podcasts. But to me, I think the even more confusing if it's someone that's played the PS4 Spider-Man goes to buy the next
Yeah.
Spider-Man and they can't play it. And they're like, no, you got to buy this $500,
Especially
$600
their mother.
system to play it. They're gonna be like, what the fuck? I just played Spider-Man a year and a half ago on this PS4. Now you're telling me it doesn't work on there? I got to buy this $600, $500 gateway to get to it? That's stupid. Like, I think that's going to be anti-consumer, and I think a lot of people are not going to like that.
Mhm.
And it's gonna really divide how many sales there's going to be on there. I think it might push some console sales for the hardcore, like always, right? There's going to be a couple million people that always buy it first, and are early adapters like us, but a lot of people are not like that. And a
Now,
lot
are
of
we
people not
are we
like us.
100% that those games are not coming to PS4 like Spider-Man?
No, I've heard that they've iffy on
Very
answering that.
iffy.
So I think they could do it, but delay it, and that would kind of burn customers as well. What if you're one of those
Yeah.
guys that you're like, well, I guess, I mean, I'm a Spider-Man diehard, and you go and you buy the PS5 for this game, and then 2 months from now they release it on the PS4 that you had and were totally fine playing it on. Like, I think they're looking short term, and they're going to burn themselves with a lot of customer feedback in the long run doing this.
Yeah, one of the things that I brought this up on my Twitter, and it really got people going. People were trying to make it about me. They pulled 2015 tweets
Oh
up
my god!
and this and that. The
Why are you
fact of the
trolling
matter is
again, Tim
that-
Dog?
The fact of the matter is that what they're doing though is definitely bullshit. And yeah, I'm an Xbox guy, but when you're calling out Phil and all this stuff for generation exclusives and putting all this misinformation out there, well, guess what? Then I'm going to point out something that's definitely anti-consumer and definitely a bullshit shit show, ruse job that Sony's doing. And the funny thing is that not one Sony fanboys will admit it. They just will not. They will take whatever they get and they will just say, thank you for that. The fact is that this game is a game that should be on PS4. You can still have generation exclusives or hardware exclusives. Fine. You have Godfall. Obviously, they think that sucks, so they came out with this Spider-Man thing. But the long and short of it, this whole thing with Spider-Man is complete bullshit. And the media, they kowtow towards Sony, they won't bring it up. They'll bring up things like the Xbox not having a power mode, and writing that they'll be crazy harsh on that, but they won't bring something up like this. Like somebody in the pandemic who just got their console and they're playing Spider-Man, and now that same Spider-Man is going to be available in 4 months, and they're told, well, no, you gotta buy this white PS5 for $500.
That's not fair, Tim. They did bring up something, that article the other day that said boost mode was so powerful that some PS4 games won't work.
I could not believe that either. Or that, you know, the new thing that 30 frames per second is, it's just great, guys. When I heard the same people say, why isn't Xbox One X doing 4K 60? Well, you know, it was such a big deal that it wasn't doing 60. And all generation, I heard gamers say, we want 60 frames per second. Now, just because you have like 7 exclusives or whatnot that are 30 frames per second, you didn't mention any kind of boost mode or anything. Now it's okay. And now you have these articles mimicking it. Just to me, it just got to the point where I just had enough and I went at it. But it is complete bullshit because we have gamers, and just in this podcast, I've had, you know, this argument with everyone. We want 60 frames per second. I think that's something that you should strive for, and I think thankfully one company, Microsoft, is definitely looking to push 60 frames per second as a standard, and possibly
Tim,
more.
I've been told today that if you're asking for 60 frames, you're entitled. You're just an entitled gamer.
That's crazy. As Xbox gamers, we've been told all gen that we need to ask for more, otherwise we will get mediocre from Xbox.
Exactly.
From all the other side, the entire gen, ask for more, you guys. You have to yell, you have to scream. And we did. We did. We yelled and screamed and demanded better, and they went out and they spent an uncountable amount of money acquiring studios, making the best console ever currently with the One X, again with the Series
They
X.
improved, yes.
That's just it, like on all fronts, because they were blasted by their fan base. And I'm going to say it now to the Sony guys. If you guys want better, if you guys want a true PlayStation 5 Pro or a real next-gen PlayStation 6, you have one generation to let Sony know. You can't lay down and just accept and start damage controlling everything, or you will get 30 frames on the PS6 as well. You need to let them know that you just don't want it. That's all. You can still enjoy your games, enjoy the platform, buy them, but let them know you want more.
Let me, dude, this is the real thing that people should focus on too, and this is what it comes down to, is the people that are saying that don't know what kind of hardware they're buying, right? They don't even know why they're spending $400 to $500, right? And with such incredible power in Series X, it's not a can it happen, it can easily happen. There is no excuse. Higher frame rates are a big draw to the box for a lot of us, and if we're not getting more than 30, you might as well kind of stay on the X you have now. And that's the option they've given us. There's nothing wrong with that. But bigger frame rates, better graphics, you know, it's just not worth the leap to some people unless you're getting at least better frame rates. They're tighter 30 FPS, and we know what we can get with the box. You're spending a lot of money. That's why we're saying give us 60 FPS, because we know what the box is worth. So that's kind of the big thing. I give a shout out to Salamander. Thanks for coming to the channel, everybody. Also, Mr. Buster Palmer. Shout out to you, buddy. It's been a minute. He said, just got on. From what I'm hearing, Sony fanboys just don't have any common sense. Microsoft, yeah, they don't. Phil isn't messing around. No, you're right. You're definitely right, buddy. It's good to see you back. Hector, by the way, in the super chat says 60 FPS. Stop being a Karen. Give us 30 FPS. Yeah, how about no? I don't want that. Element of PO. He says, hey RDX, will the resolution be for? Oh, that's right. There was a Far Cry 5 or Far Cry 6. Was there resolution disparity already between the X and the? I don't know. Yes. I don't know anything about that. A rumor. Okay.
I think I saw somewhere.
Well, it was on the box. Not to interrupt, D, but it was on the box that X. It said Series X and Xbox One is Ultra 4K HDR only, but
only
it was
on Xbox.
Right, but it was then clarified by Tom saying that that's just their wording. So it is up in the air if it is actually 4K native on PS5. So it's nobody really knows.
Ashtray says Far Cry needs to be 60.
Ashtray says block the Sony fanboy silence. I mean, hey, if they're not being too bad, you know, they're just words, man. But you know, I get it. I don't know what they're saying. I can't keep up with it. Also got one of my best friends, a friendly neighborhood blue shell. He says market share equals mind control. 5G tower, Tim. So yeah, I mean, thanks again for the super chats, all the support, guys. If you're watching, we're past 2,100 watching live. Hit that like button. Also 2,200. Hit that like button. Share it out with a buddy or two. Tell a friend. We do appreciate it. You power the show. Again, guys, I mean, yeah, we're expecting big things there. Somebody got banned out of the channel and they were bitching at me on Twitter. I was like, I don't know anything about it. I don't ban anybody in the chat very rarely. So a moderator must have banned somebody. Somebody's pissed about it. But anyway, I digress. Let me go ahead and go back to the topics here. I'm all over the place. We've got the game case thing happening. Obviously, we talked about that. We don't know why certain games on the PS5 are not coming to the PS4. Ratchet and Clank makes sense, but to a lot of the other ones, you know, if it's got ray tracing, it could be deactivated, etc. It could scale down quite easily. We've also got Watch Dogs Legion confirmed with ray tracing.
Oh,
Tim, I know Shady's looking forward to this, but my opinion still has not changed on this piece of shit.
What?
Yep, it just hasn't.
What?
It just hasn't changed.
You can
Cut
play
his
as
mic.
fucking John Wick, bro.
I play as an old lady in a flak jacket.
Hell yeah.
You know, mine hasn't changed either. It just doesn't look right to me. I don't know. There's
Oh.
something about it. There's something about it.
You
I
know what?
don't
That's
care
okay,
for.
Fonz. It's okay. Hey, Shady just had a stroke in the background. I just want to remind him that's okay.
Yeah, I hear it. But I mean, look, I played Watch Dogs 1 and Watch Dogs 2, and newsflash, they weren't great games. Not at all. So I'm just not excited for this one. They have to prove it to me. I guess that's the thing. Prove it to me. Prove to me that it's a better game than the first two, and then I'll buy it.
I'm gonna counter that with I felt the opposite. I actually really liked what I saw from Watch Dogs. I like that I can actually play as John Wick. And when I actually saw Assassin's Creed, I feel the way that you guys feel about Watch Dogs. I felt Assassin's Creed was just really janky, man. That frame rate was struggling, and
It was.
And the animations just looked rough. The animations in Watch Dogs, I was actually surprised because obviously it's a Ubisoft game, so like, geez, are they gonna copy and paste the animations for Assassin's Creed? But you were doing like moonsaults and all kinds of stuff on characters, and yeah, I was impressed with what I saw. To be honest with you, I thought their show was pretty good. The weak point for me, once again, was Assassin's Creed. It I don't know, man. The lip sync was off on the characters. I don't know, man. Just looked like doo-doo. But Assassin's Creed and Far Cry really made the show for me.
Looks like some doo-doo. Z Black Rider, he says y'all need to push your wait, what? Holy, okay. You need to punch your lips. Most devs are actually slaves to your habit. That's true. We got to give a shout out to the developers that make the game. Snake Eyes, he says, I'm keeping it free. I'm sorry. I'm just struggling so bad right now. I'm
keeping my feet firmly in the ground. I
Thank
refuse
you.
to play games at anything less than 60. Not buying PlayStation till I see proof of 60 FPS exclusives.
Okay. Now that I got my mouse, something was under my mouse and I'm like trying to move it. Okay. Thanks, Snake
Got
Eyes.
you, dog.
I had to take a drink of water. I'm dying over here. So,
Jesus,
Zalka, you rescued me, buddy. You threw a little tire out for me.
I did.
I appreciate that.
Dog, you know this.
So yeah, we're gonna move forward. Let me fucking.
Whoa, I need
Far
to
Cry
talk about
6.
this Watch Dogs
Oh,
for
God.
a second, man.
Okay.
Watch Dogs 3 was my game of E3 last year. I was completely blown away. Man.
What?
Dude, being able to play as any NPC that has a whole bunch of different sweetest stuff going down. I listened to their interviews on how they did the voicing. It's like all AI assisted, so they could record each line once or twice, and then it would be heavily modified, so you couldn't tell, and that's how they're doing it. Like, I think the tech is pretty impressive, and what this game is doing for an open world game, I don't think we've ever seen anything even close
Shady, let me
outside
ask
of
you something though.
GTA
Did you
with
play
three
the
guys.
first two?
I played
Did
the
you play the
first one. I played the first one. It was nowhere near as good as everyone was expecting. The second one was better. I didn't touch it nearly as much, but I've heard from a lot of people that it's great. And then everything I've seen of this one looks
What?
fantastic, man. Like the hand-to-hand combat, the animations that are going on. He comes in and like kicks the dude in the dick, shoots him in the stomach, flips him over, executes him, and that was one of dozens, man.
Yeah.
I'm saying these animations looked as impressive to me
I'm not going to
as
say there was
Naughty
some,
Dog, man. I'm
there
saying
was there were oh no there
for
was
an
some cool
open world
moments for sure,
giant
but
game like this, I thought it looked insane.
Well, I'll tell you
No.
one
world
thing:
is
the story will
beautiful.
be better than Naughty Dog.
look, Far Cry 6 looked insane, and
Well, I
I
mean,
know
well,
it was
that
just a
was, just
CG
an intro.
trailer or in-game
Yeah.
trailer or whatever.
It's like,
But
I
hey,
love Far Cry. and I know that.
Giancarlo Esposito sold that game for me. That was the game of the show for me. I can't wait to play that.
Watch Dogs, it impressed me so much on this second showing again, like even more than the last one. I thought it looked absolutely fantastic. And then having Killer Phil step in just to say that the
Killer
enhancements coming to this.
just to say they're free.
Well, like he's like, no, the Series X enhancements are free. I mean, that's great. We know that's what
Yeah,
Ubisoft and stuff
yeah.
is doing. But beyond that,
Did
he
Rand
said
make a
that
video about
the
that?
specific enhancements will be ray
Did
tracing.
Rand?
Ray tracing enhancements, and I was just like, it made my day, because that's what they had showed on the PC last year, and I was worried that the console version wouldn't have all those reflections and stuff. And to see him come out and say we're getting the ray tracing version, oh baby, it tells me maybe the PlayStation is not getting the ray tracing in that game.
I think it kind of hinted, to be honest with you, I think it kind of hinted at the release date of the console, because he didn't say that about Assassin's Creed, and that's coming out later in November. But he did say it about Watch Dogs, so that might be coming out before the console. So he's like, if you buy it on the Xbox One, you're gonna get the upgrades free when the console comes out.
What,
I
right?
thought that
What was
too,
the
but
date?
then it was Watch Dogs was in, I think, October 17th or 19th or something like that.
It's like
and
October
then-
28th.
Was it? And then what do you call it? Assassin's Creed was 3.5 weeks or 3 weeks later, which is ludicrous. Both of those games are going to be ginormous, and for them
Well,
to release
Cyberpunk, bro.
that close, and then Cyberpunk. And I was gonna say, if Cyberpunk doesn't guarantee Series X level enhancements, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna play the Ubisoft games that are Series X enhanced. I've waited 8 years for Cyberpunk. I can wait like 4 months, 6 months. I can wait another year. I want this thing to be the best it can on the console that I'm playing. I don't want to be diving in any more than an hour or two when it launches if it's not Series X enhanced.
Well, then you better play it on the PS5 with that SSD.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna do it. But yeah, man, it's on them now, because these other two giant games are launching right around it, and they have already said that they are Series X enhanced. So I'm going to be sinking mad time into these two, and Cyberpunk can wait. If it does Series X enhancements at launch, then I'm going in, but I'm going to wait for that one now.
Somebody said
Because
pop.
of Watch Dogs, baby.
Somebody said pop out the ball in that ancient ass mouse. Yeah, I'm
You
sorry.
notice how everybody is like, it seems like with all these different shows and everything, it's like Phil just pops up out of nowhere in a little video, like makes a cameo, and all these like little things we're watching lately. And
It's like
hey,
Stan
by
Lee
the
in the
way,
Marvel films.
Series X is going to have this, day one. It's crazy. Every time you're watching something, it just seems like Phil just pops up out of nowhere.
You know what else? He's
Hilarious.
obviously got a new webcam and a new mic. He looked great, sounded
I think
great.
he's,
as
I think
opposed
he's
to
showing that
before.
off, right?
Yeah, that's right. He's just dropping in just so we can see that stuff. Oh, by the way, we got ray tracing coming as well. I thought Assassin's Creed looked really good, but like with D, the animations looked a little janky. The frame rate looked like it was having some issues. But I thought it was cool how you can like blend into the crowds again and like sit at tables, pretend
That's
you're eating
I
stuff.
still find
They
that
brought
so
that back.
fucking stupid that you have like this big axe on your back and you're gonna be walking around with monks. Like, how does
Yeah,
people
man,
not see you?
I'm just a monk with a giant axe. I'm cutting some logs. What's up? But I know there's a lot of people in the community.
Do
that
logs
look at
bleed? Because there's
that.
hella blood on that shit.
They look at the new Assassin's
Wow.
Creed as like an action game where you can't stealth nearly as
I think
much, and
people
they're
who
kind
are-
of bringing it back. So that's cool.
I think people who are really hard on the graphics right now just need to just relax, because it's not going to look any worse than Odyssey did, and that was beautiful. I
Well,
really
yeah,
don't think it's going
We're
to.
at the beginning of
be a
the
bad
gen.
looking
Like,
game.
look at what do you call it there? The pirate one when it first launched, Assassin's Creed, Black Flag at the beginning of this gen. Compare that to the new Assassin's Creed that comes out. They're night and day. We're stepping into the very beginning of next generation. The games aren't going to look like they're going to look after 5 years. So
Let me give a shout out to Noof Nukem, Titan Drago. We got Dreadpool. We got so many people in the chat, guys. Thanks for joining us. We've also got Rockstar XP. He says D Batch. D Batch, where are you? Where are you? He runs at a lock 60 FPS, fucks per second, according to Rob. That was a interesting joke. We've also got Flexican, who says busy with Gears 5 and of course Halo. Yeah, Master Chief's help days today. Nice J-Dub poll. Who's J-Dub? GG. Great show. Thank you so much. July 23rd is going to be fire, and I'm going to move on. Keep things moving. Again, guys, yeah, Watch Dogs, I don't know. I mean, you guys went all in on that one. I didn't expect that, but I guess it's getting some attention somewhere. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm just not interested at the moment, I guess. I don't feel like that's a sin. Throw some holy water at me. I don't really know what to do about it. It's just that's how I feel. I'm not really excited for anything Ubisoft has shown, and they've managed to sap even Valhalla hype from me a little bit.
really,
No, I don't think it's been managed
what
very
did it
well.
for you? Okay,
Well,
okay.
if you looked at the presentation, like the lip sync was so off. The faces look so. You know what it looked like?
So judgmental, D-Batch.
You remember that blank look that the characters had on Mass Effect? That's all I fucking see when I
Swipe
see
left.
fucking Assassin's Creed.
It wasn't
I'm being honest. I expect better. It's the next generation. I expect better. I don't expect.
We know it's gonna look better in Odyssey. Come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
It's gonna look better
The
now.
animations were the roughest part for me, man.
Tim Dog, you got any fucks to give? You got anything to say?
No, just keep remembering when Watch Dogs came out and whatever the original and that E3 demo and how it just never
how it changed.
You know,
Definition of downgrade.
I think that's the reason why you're probably not high on Watch Dogs either. It's probably a lot like me. The first two were crap, and you're just like not really interested in the third. Like
You're not pulling an Andromeda now, are you? Where he's like talking about some shit you didn't play again?
no, this is something. Here's the
Savage.
thing: when you have two first games you come out with, and they're both crap. I mean, why is the third automatically going to be good? You got to prove it to people.
The second one wasn't crap. It was just a little.
It was crap, dude.
Little
That thing was
hipster.
terrible.
Lot
a
of
little
hipster.
avocado toast.
You like running around with a yo-yo hitting people?
Yeah,
with
see
it and
that?
stuff?
There you go. But like the gameplay
got
mechanics,
yo-yo
it
hands.
was neat. The aesthetic was a little, hey, I don't dress that way, so I understand where you're coming from as well, Fonz. But,
Hey, Digital Foundry. I didn't watch this, but somebody told me Digital Foundry said the PS5 ain't gonna do 60 FPS or some crap.
yeah.
Is this a game of telephone,
They were
Tim?
saying that
Explain.
what they said was that they were thinking that they might not be focusing on 60 FPS.
that's first party, of course. Like Call of
First
Duty,
party.
30 frames on the PS5. Could you
I
imagine?
need to hear exactly what they said, but Digital Foundry should know better. All their fucking games can do 60 FPS. I don't know.
Well, they're saying based on what they've seen so far of the first party games, that is their assumption that they're focusing on third party. That's basically what they're saying.
I'd have to agree with them, even though the system is capable of doing 60 frames per second quite easily. It's obvious that they're targeting 30 frames per second, like Ratchet and Clank, like everything apart from Gran Turismo, but that pretty much is a port of the PlayStation 4 version. So I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they need to prioritize 60 frames per second. And just like everyone says to the Xbox gamers demand more, PlayStation gamers need to demand more and say, listen, we're okay with a 4K 30 frames per second mode, but give us a 1440p or give us a variable frame rate 60 frames per second mode. These systems are capable, and at the very least, I'm just gonna be honest. My opinion, next generation is 60 frames per second. It should be 80% 60 frames per second, and this is the way I feel. I'm sorry.
No, D, it's okay to feel things, okay? Don't ever let nobody touch your hands while they tell you can't feel stuff. Nate, he says, Sony fans have been really quiet lately. Keep up the great work, guys. I have not noticed, but I'm sure they have. We've also got Chaos Might again. He says, are any of you doing a live react? We're actually going to do a show after that. That's basically E3. We got to do it. We've also got Nightwolf again. These are fucking pouring in now. Shit, D, I know. It's early, but of course did Valhalla. That's right. Nightwolf's looking forward to it. Did the character models in Valhalla look subpar too? That's what he wants to know.
Yeah, yeah, man. It just did. They can do better, and I know these companies, they have their cookie cutter way of making games, and they're making money. So I understand from the company standpoint, but at the same time, we're going to a new generation, and I think they can do better. And there's nothing that I've seen in that game that says that it needs to be a 30 frames per second game. Yet it's 30 frames per second on the console, and I don't know, man. I just expect more from Ubisoft, to be honest with you. I know they can do better, and I'm just not overly impressed with the game. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna try it day one because I fucking play everything, but I'm just not really hyped for it.
Game Genie Prime, he says he can't wait for his Arkham games to look like the Arkham footage in the gameplay. It'll look even better. Even the Xbox One X could make the game look like this. So yeah, definitely. Series X is a monster. You'll get a patch there, hopefully. Arkham, such a phenomenal franchise. Who would have thought Rocksteady would have made one damn game in an entire generation? We've also got Mr. Buster Palmer again. I guess you changed your picture. He says, question, do you think pre-orders will happen on the 23rd? As of right now, I don't think we are thinking that, are we? We're thinking maybe they're going to focus on the games, and that's what they'll be kind of focusing on.
Yeah.
But you never know.
I agree.
Microsoft
I agree. I
changed
don't think
that.
that we're going to get any price or anything like that on 23rd. I think they're going to show you games and then give you a reason why you should buy the console. I mean, Phil, I said it before. We don't want our console doing the talking. We want the games doing the talking. Or you don't
We got
want to
the
hear
price
our
for the
console.
One X in August. If you guys remember, it was at Gamescom when they gave the price for the One X. So
Yeah,
it
the
could be
Pro
late
got
August
the price
again.
in fucking September.
Yeah, everyone who wants to buy one's going to buy one, and we know it's going to be within $100, give or take a guess. So what does it matter? They could release the price the day before the thing comes out, and everyone's going to buy one. So
You're going to see price coming from PS5 first.
Yeah,
think so?
I think it's dependent on Sony. I think Microsoft is just waiting for Sony to rain on their parade. I think they're gonna hit them with a 1-2 combo. I think they're gonna hit them with well, I don't want to say it for sure because I don't know for sure. Take it with a grain of salt. But I've heard a lot of things that Xbox may match the price of the PlayStation 5, which would be fucking crazy as it's a more powerful system. And then hit them with a fucking 2-piece. Then hit them with another combo, a right hook with the Xbox Series S, priced like $150 cheaper than the PlayStation 5, and that's gonna really put Sony in a tight spot, man.
It's quite the stare down they got going each other. If Sony bends first, do you think that's kind of alluding to where the future could go? Is all of a sudden Microsoft starts winning different competitions, whatever they may be? Because it's unlike Sony to go first on anything, let alone drop the price. I think Sony wants to go last on that front more than ever because of what happened last gen.
I think the only play left for Sony is basically like leading up, like really close to Microsoft's show, is to drop their price and drop a good price for it and the pre-order date. I think that's their only play at this time because they're outgunned in every department. And I'm not going to segue to the next topic because I don't know if it's the next topic, but the Xbox Velocity architecture just put a dent in Sony's PS5 SSD armor, and they're running out of options, so they're going to have to go soon. They're going to have to make their move.
We got a super chat from Mariano. Shout out to you, buddy. He says, "Hey D, what games start and end the Xbox July event? Welcome back, Shady. Thank you guys. Great show so far. I don't know. They gotta probably end the show with Fable or something like that, and maybe start it with Bugs Next too.
Yes,
they're gonna start with Halo. They're gonna end it with Fable. Pretty much, I'm pretty certain on that.
A 15-minute deep dive into Grounded, into controllers, and then from there it'll be fantastic.
They're gonna start with Indie
DLC.
I got faith in this event. I think that they have been taking notes more so than they usually probably do. I think they probably are tired of getting bitched at, and it's because of the feedback that they're getting better, guys. So again, you as a consumer, you have every right to let somebody you're paying a lot of money. Let them know how to improve your platform and improve things in the presentation, because it does help hype, it helps morale, it boosts excitement. I'm ready to have, like, remember when Gears 5 came out and we were like, holy shit, finally a big blockbuster. It's been 4 years. Oh, fuck. And we were all really excited. And we're like, yes, we got something big to play. And that was a good feeling. And the reviews were pretty good, really. It didn't flop or bomb or anything. We had the Sony guys, so those on Twitter. But it was just a good feeling to have something to feel good about, And I want a bunch of that. That's what I want. Yeah. I want a bunch of that, little Zocker.
So do I. I love Gears, and I love playing games that actually, take time to play. I don't want to play smaller games. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Ori. I played the hell out of it. I beat freaking Gears Tactics, which I think is a AAA game, and I fucking loved every minute of it. But I do understand what you mean by getting those bigger games, like those big production games. And that's something that Xbox really needs to hone in on and show that they're making. Different experiences that we have not gotten on Xbox, or somebody that might not have an Xbox would want to get one for. And even if they play it on PC, I don't care. But I'm just saying, like, I just want those bigger experiences. And, if they get Warner Brothers or all these studios, it doesn't matter. All the 15 studios they have, they need to start giving them the resources, which it looks like they are, to make those games.
God, are people still talking about this 9.2 PS5? The 9.2 thing is not debatable, guys. That's what Smart Shift is. The 2 gigahertz on 36 CU is exactly 9.2 gigahertz here, right? So, or 9.2 teraflops. So you can't, they scale it up 10% to 22, whatever the fuck it is. It goes up to 10.2. If you need any CPU overhead, they have to declock the GPU. It scales down, right? Like, so I don't know. People are still in denial about this. Every time they reference the PS5 GPU, it's 10 teraflops.
Of course.
They don't understand, like, as the generation goes on and CPU demands go up, that it's going to get less and less powerful on the GPU side because they're going to need more CPU power, right?
Yep.
That's literally the point of Smart Shift.
one of the things that when they talked about Xbox velocity architecture is, and shout out to Brad Sams, he also brought this up. They talked about how it's sustainability rather than peaks, and basically how Xbox has delivered a system to developers that they can work from locked frequencies, sustained frequencies, obviously to push the most powerful console. And Xbox believes they have an advantage there, obviously. I know that for a fact because Ronald had said that he said that publicly, that they had tried the smart shift, and they basically, from I had known about that for a while. I had told Dealer that beforehand. I heard that beforehand. They basically tried it, and they said that it wasn't great, and that's why they didn't use it.
But here's the problem, Tim. It's like there's guys in the chat that are saying sustainable. Like Smart Shift has anything to do with variable. When they say variable clocks, they don't mean, oh, it's at 10.2. Oh, it got hot. It dropped down to 9.9. That's not what they mean. It's variable because they can choose where they want the GPU to run at, and they have to seesaw balance it in conjunction with the CPU output. That's why it's variable. Okay. So I just feel like we explain this stuff over and over. And it's, I don't know. It's like I'm playing They Are Billions. So Titan Drago got me to play this game.
Dealer came with the teacher. Okay.
Yeah, Brad Sams alluded to the fact that the storage on the Series X is also a guaranteed speed. And that made me think that maybe the PlayStation's SSD also fluctuates in speed. I've heard that SSDs, when they get hot, they slow down. So
yeah, they have like
Xbox has done something to prevent that. But Brad Sams mentioned that not only is the clocks they're the same across the board and never fluctuate, but neither does the speed of the SSD.
Yeah. By the way, Robert, good super chat, says, I don't want to see Gears Tactics, Sea of Thieves, or Grounded at this event. I want bangers. And I can't blame you.
I got in trouble for saying that. A lot of people attacked me. Well, why don't you want to see these little indie devs? These guys need the spotlight too. And I'm like, not at a big show like this. Like, save that stuff for another show, or that should have been in May.
Well, those are just big games that are out now, right? Like
these are this is E3. I want to see some huge bangers. That's all I want to see. Okay. Now, if there's some smaller indie titles that are really good games, yeah, show those too. But I don't want to see like Bambi running into a vending machine full of Xbox. So I don't need to see that game.
This year, I don't want to see any of that stuff. Leave that stuff till after the show when they're doing like their inside Xbox like programs, and they're going into little dives on the indie games and semi dives into some of the other games that are coming out. We're seeing gameplay walkthroughs and whatnot. Show it in that section, like an hour after the show on the Xbox channel. Don't show indies at this event. And if you do show indies, like leave it to a minimum, like 2 minutes, because gamers have spoken. We don't want to see that at this event. So stop doing it. We don't want to see it.
Well, technically, they said we can be downloading anywhere from 60 to 100 of these smaller games, AA games, what have you, during this week as well. So not only do they not have to show them, because we can download them and play them. So don't waste the time on the big show with the hour and a half or what have you. Let us download and play the ones that interest us and stuff. Or do it on the side like you guys brought up. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim. Yeah. No, seriously. So Tim, what were you saying? You were saying that they came out and said that they actually were considering the smart shift for Series X, so they would scale the GPU up and scale the CPU down.
They tested it, and what I heard, what I was told was that the gains were just not there. They just didn't think it was plausible for the amount of work that needs to be done. And that's basically what Jason Ronald said in that interview. It's a Spanish article. You'd have to use Translate, but they basically could have used it. They tested it, but they just didn't find it to be developer friendly, nor did they see the performance gains that you would think that you would get. So that's why they even with the Digital Foundry, that's why they're talking about sustained and lock clocks that will not change. Basically, they'll give the developers a set point to hit, and the set point to hit is much higher than anything that Sony can hit. And it is what it is. I mean, people trying to say 10.2 Two, they're not considering everything that, like you just explained, that how it has to balance, it has to take frequency from the CPU or take power from the CPU and utilize it to the GPU. Plus, its peak performance. It's you could say all you want. The fact of the matter is that in theory, once these games are made, then they'll really know. And I mean, if Xbox tested and it was great, they would have went with it. They didn't go with it, maybe because they just knew they had that much more power. But Sony went with it because of opticals, because they look better at 10.2 than 9.2, and that's the bottom line.
Even though on day one, like with Ratchet and Clank, where they're like, hey, we wanted to scale our animations up, right? And we didn't have a higher frame rate or whatever they said. Who knows if that's running on a 10 teraflop PS5? I expect a lot of 10 teraflop games on day one, but there's got to be some where developers said, hey, we need more CPU voltage. So we,
they said, animation over frames in that case. And I'm just wondering, aren't they tied together? I mean, animation and frame rates, like,
no,
you can,
you'll see obviously twice the animations at twice the frame rate, or the same animation at least repeated twice. It's smoother overall, but they say animations because animations are a CPU driven task. So we have a whole section on what the hell? Yeah, chat's up to some weird things. Again, guys, hey, if you are here in the chat, guys, thanks for rocking out with us. It's a weird ass show. It's kind of a flea market version of the regular show. Thanks for rocking out with us. And hit that like button, maybe share it with a buddy or two. We got some toilet paper over here for you, some Pop-Tarts. We've also got some super chat. Desmond, by the way, says, what's it like? What's the likelihood of Xbox get the rights to make exclusive games based on DC characters? Not very high. Thanks for the super chat, though. I don't. That's more Zalker's realm, not mine. I don't know. The licensing thing there is weird because they get the studios, they get the talent, but they don't necessarily get the IPs. But they can license the IPs. But if you license them, you got to get a sandwich when you're licensed. There's a lot of rules.
They'll probably get first crack at it. And if they have a deal and a relationship with AT&T or Warner Brothers, I think they will get a little bit of like, hey, is there a studio that you want working on this? They'll probably talk to the studios, be like, do you want a character that you want to work on? And I think they will get exclusive rights to them. Not like they won't own them, because I think Warner Brothers, the number one thing why they're selling this is because they want to sell the rights to multiple companies and make a fucking killing from it, because they have amazing IPs. So
well, now you could have 10 studios potentially making Batman games if a bunch of guys want to go up and license that IP.
Well, I don't think that'll be it. I think if anybody from Microsoft wants to make like a Batman game, I don't think another studio will. I think if they want to make like an Aquaman game or whatever the fuck it is, no one else will make one of those. But if they want to make like a Catwoman game or a Robin game or something like that, and Microsoft's like, yeah, sure, whatever, they'll license that one out, right? So I think it could be potential more games from Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or whatever, but it won't be owned by Microsoft. At least I don't think so.
Hey, Jesse Darby, be careful out there, buddy. He's got to go to work. No rushing. No, that IO difference. For one, we're gonna go ahead and hammer people who don't know what the fuck memory multipliers are. Okay, there's a big variable that there's people talking about. Oh, you can transfer things this much faster on the PS5 SSD, and I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, now how many gigs of game data do you have access to all at once in your SSD? Do you have 100 gigs? How much is confirmed? Right? There is a whole nother variable here that nobody's considering. And I don't think that the IO difference there is going to be massive at all, especially when you talk about every single game that comes out that is a multiplat will not max out the PS5's fucking SSD anyway, because it is developed for a lower common denominator on PC.
When you're talking about this 100 gig cache, do you mean like they could theoretically load the entire Assassin's Creed game?
I literally talked about this possibility
loads.
I literally talked about this possibility fucking 2 years ago almost, where you basically have the whole game sitting in what is effectively virtual RAM, and somehow I didn't know how it was going to happen at the time. This is way more efficient, way more genius, but yeah, this is what's happening in a different way, and it's really interesting. So developers can pull out basically any file from that game instantly, and that's what that GPU paging, what's that called? It's that GPU feature that can draw.
SFS feedback?
I got it written down. I get it. But basically,
it's SFS feedback. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
I feel like you're pronouncing a fancy beer or something.
For the layman out there, do games need to be designed with velocity architecture in mind, or does that just come in and work?
Yeah, there is sampler feedback, which is actually part of it, but direct storage API is where they can instantly zip and unzip things right from the storage instantly, and using that hardware compression and decompression block, which these guys didn't talk about either in their little videos celebrating because they don't even know what the fuck it is. That's how they speed up that drive fast enough to make it compete with the RAM, or rather be quick enough to send those assets into the RAM and be usable in real time. I mean, and there's all kinds of layers with machine learning, how they're scaling things up instantly, low res textures up into 4K. There's so much shit that they're talking about.
I got someone today in my comment section saying, "Oh, the PS5 is gonna have better textures." I was like, "Listen, buddy, the Xbox Series X has higher bandwidth, so no, that's not happening. They also have confirmed machine learning, so no, that's not happening." I don't understand. And from the information I got today, like it was kind of a lot of information to go over. I kind of just dropped out a video, but there's a lot of information to go over. The BC compression block, it offers like a ratio of 2 to 5 to 1. So like when you add everything up, all the different layers from the the compression and the sampler feedback, streaming assets, and all the shit, it's like it's very close to what the PlayStation 5 is doing on their SSD when you do the math. So the PlayStation 5 on paper, yeah, it's got a faster SSD. In practice, we don't know yet. Let's assume in practice it does have a faster SSD. It's going to be like 2 to 3 seconds faster. That's basically all you're going to see is
load times,
quicker load time. Perhaps, and I'm stretching it here because honestly, what we discovered from Velocity today, it's amazing. But let's just play devil's advocate here. Perhaps
Al Pacino.
Perhaps the assets may load in a fraction of a quarter of a second faster, and maybe the draw distance may be a tad further. In all honesty, gamers are not going to see the difference unless Digital Foundry really breaks it down. And at the end of the day, what would you rather have? Would you rather have 3 seconds faster loading time, or would you rather have better graphics and a higher frame rate? Like, what do you want?
Well, the latter.
The best thing that I've seen though is that there's actually Sony fanboys claiming that the SSD is 60, not 6, 60 times faster than the Xbox Series
I like
X.
turtles.
It's not. It's not. If you add the numbers today, like I just don't want to add up. I have added up the numbers, but I need to fucking verify it, so I'm just not gonna put them all out there. But if you add up the numbers, it's fucking a lot. It's a lot. Let's see what Microsoft produces from the Velocity architecture. Let's see it in action before I go on a fucking limb. But it's fucking fast. There's a lot of things in there that Sony is simply not doing on the PlayStation 5, and I really think the faster SSD that they have, it's a marginal win for them. It's a marginal win, and Velocity kind of negates those improvements until Sony is, like what Dealer said, putting 100 gigabytes in the memory. Until they're using machine learning.
Let's say they are doing all that, and they got a magic little, they got a magic fish in there, and it has 5 more horsepower. Okay, yeah, none of it matters because your game is built for PC too. Unless it is only on PS5. So it could be faster and better in every single way. 100 times faster, actually. Guess what? Your game design is not changing because Doom Eternal 5.0 is going to run on the PC as well. That drive is not as quick at the minimum spec as your PS5. So that's something that you just got to think about, on top of the fact that you are not factoring in the well over 100 extra gigs per second memory bandwidth the Series X has, on top of its 100 gigs of in-game assets through the Velocity architecture as well. There's so many things that people aren't, you know what I'm saying? That's why I was saying people testing this stuff out on PC, it doesn't matter, because unless you build it with the Kraken and Velocity architecture, you are not retrieving assets and getting the I/O from the box at all. You cannot possibly get the right result there.
No.
With that statement there, Dealer, I'm wondering, like, with all the Velocity architecture stuff that they talked about in the trailer, do games need to be built using that, or is that something that the Xbox
Velocity
Series
architecture
is
it has to be built on Velocity. That's why your game has to be on the SSD drive, because that's how they're transferring the files into the actual RAM.
So like games that I have right now, if I were to put them on the internal for the Series X, are they taking advantage of velocity architecture?
No, they're
even
not.
though they're
It's
out
just
now?
going to
Okay,
benefit
okay.
from the extra loads naturally. But
Okay.
like State of Decay and Forza and all that stuff they show loading, those games were not built with velocity. That was just benefiting from the random throughput of the drive, right? So, yeah.
Because it's like that, is there a chance then, because if Sony is not doing this, then will third party take advantage of velocity architecture on the Series X?
It
or will
has to.
be
If you patch for
overlooked?
Series X, you cannot develop the game without actually using the
okay,
velocity
okay.
architecture.
So it's just a mandatory thing when you're developing the
Yes,
Series X.
and
for
from what
everybody.
developers are saying, they love it. They like having all their assets in queue, ready to go. Like there's no bullshit. So again,
And
like
that's
you know,
I just want to add real quick. We will see the advantages of the SSD in both of these consoles, though, because both of them are capable. They're going to take the low common denominator, which is going to be the Xbox Series X, which is I think 4.8.
common denominator is going to be on PC.
Press.
Sorry.
Common denominator would be PC.
Well, it's kind of convoluted a little bit because
No,
right now
SATA SSDs are like a fraction of Xbox Series X speed. So
but the Xbox Velocity is coming. It's been announced. It is coming to PC, and I expect it to be on PC sooner than later, within a year. So, but even so, if they just want to target, there's certain games that are just on the consoles that don't make it to the PC, like UFC. So those games, they'll take advantage of the lowest common denominator, which is Xbox, and I think that's like 4.8. So we're still going to see a benefit. So some games will benefit from the SSDs from both of these consoles. But yeah, you're right. Mostly first parties are going to benefit.
I don't see Ubisoft and everyone else just naturally, we're only using velocity architecture for this port. And then, we're not worried about all these extra customers on drives that we're not even getting close to maxing out. Pyromancer, by the way, you fraud. Last time we talked on Twitter about this, you didn't know anything about what we were talking about. We're like, Pyromancer, you're always in the chat. You're in the chat bitching about the SSD thing, but I didn't see you shutting these guys down and correcting them. So clearly you got to listen, man. I like Pyromancer. We went to Denny's yesterday. So, Pyromancer's a good guy. It's just, you gotta choose a side. You gotta play it down the middle. So again, lowest common denominators,
Pyromancer.
all that good stuff. Fonzarelli, where you been?
Pyromancer, he's the guy that calls us entitled for wanting 60 frames.
Pyromancer. I'm entitled as fuck. Give me what I'm paying for. Anyway, I'm going to.
I've been here the whole time listening to you guys ramble on about SSDs and all of this tech stuff it just flies right over my head. But, I'm here.
You're a techie guy. What are you kidding?
Yeah,
But enough on SSD!
I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. At the end of the day, hey, there's a lot of cool stuff going on with both systems, but expect to get that actual true throughput on PS5 games that are only on PS5, not even on PC, unless they do raise that minimum spec quite high. So again, velocity architecture, just to randomly run through this quick and just tell you the features of it, because they did fully detail this. This is all based on, and its sole function is to leverage what they call virtual memory, right? Even PS4 Pro has what it's called flex RAM there. You got half a gig of basically RAM that'll flip in and out depending on what software you're using. This is that on a billion times scale and 50 billion times better. So it's virtual memory based. It's possible through this SSD and compression block. It's hardware accelerated decompression, smaller games as a result there as well. I'm sure they'll use machine learning in conjunction with that later on. Direct storage API virtually eliminates load times. And again, if you are thinking about it, think about how they're starting and stopping all these games in this demonstration where they got 5 games running at once. There's only one game running at any given time. They're suspending these games in the flexible memory, or the SSD rather. So they're keeping that in that kind of fast section of the SSD or whatever they're doing there. And that's basically what they're doing here. They're instantly drawing assets right from the drive, and your load times are a lot quicker. We've talked about that forever ago.
I found one thing interesting though today. I didn't really notice that till afterwards, but they said that the hardware decompression blocks, if it wasn't there, it would actually take up 4 cores and 2 threads on the CPU. So that's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah, it's quite demanding, but they figured it out through software somehow. Sampler feedback, texture streaming. Now this basically improves efficiency in regards to bandwidth. So think of it as a compression algorithm that actually eases the load on the I/O throughput of the box. This means that Their maximum I/O is now more efficient because they've developed some kind of compression method here to get more with what they have. It's just an efficiency method, and they can use that extra ability or that extra space there, whatever they're doing, to add more detail to worlds. SSD sustains peak performance is what they're saying. There's no throttle, no real hit to CPU or GPU performance, and we've just kind of compared that to the PS5 SSD. We legitimately don't know how many gigabytes of flexible memory Kraken's working with, do we? I mean, I have heard nothing. Nothing. Nobody. So
I haven't heard anything either. Nobody's really talked about it.
We're going to try to get Jason Ronald too. We can get him to explain.
Yeah, he liked my comment. I basically had a date with him already to come on, and it just, the world exploded. So again, we'll get Jason on here, and I mean, he couldn't answer that question, but it'd be really cool to get him on here and have him talk to us, because I think he's willing. But yeah, that's the velocity architecture. And say what?
He could actually talk about it now. He probably couldn't talk about a lot of this stuff because it was under NDNA with the BC pack.
It was under RDNA.
NDNA, whatever. But he can possibly he can clearly talk about it now. So it'd be nice to have him on.
Yeah, well,
it would be.
But yeah, that's kind of that. This is the architecture that you literally have to build games on for the box. You have to use the SSDs, and that's why they're using the SSDs as expandable virtual memory with that compression block. It really is ingenious, and it's really cool. So those are the things making it possible, and they probably will improve on this going forward with some of their newer stuff coming out in the next 5 years. So PS5 SSD, we've talked about it. We just don't know as much. We want to know how much virtual memory they have access to. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying the information's not out there, but if I haven't seen it, it's probably not. So it'll be interesting. I haven't heard him brag about it, so that probably means that they don't have more. Jay's 2 cents, by the way, they were doing a comparison. Fonz, all your PC buddies you're talking to, so you finally believed us that you talked to them. You were talking about PCs and how expensive you had to have the PCs and what kind of power there was on the Series X, if it was really that powerful. And Jay's 2 cents did a video just confirming everything that we broke on this podcast about the power and the performance and what you'd need to do that. And he said that you'd need a minimum of, and he cheaped out on everything, $1,200, and he said it's around 2080 Ti performance. This is coming from like one of the fucking main PC guys on YouTube with all of the information out there now. I mean, what is your thoughts? How are Microsoft doing this, Fonzarelli?
It's called magic. That's what it's called. It's called magic. Now, I have no idea because I'm not a big tech guy, but I like what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, and I just for me, I just want the box now. I don't even want to really talk much about it. I want to play it. Like
you are a tech guy. I never heard anybody talk. You're one of the best guys with HDR.
Oh, no. When it comes to TV stuff, I know more about that stuff than I do with the PC realm. PC is just another beast, man. Like,
you know enough.
But visual stuff, yeah, I know some of that.
Where's the Shady when you need him?
He's out to lunch.
Wait, what?
What do you need?
Where are you? Fuck, you were tackling stiff arming us at the beginning of the show. Where the fuck are you now?
That's just it. Hey, I'm taking notes and pulling it back a little bit, lest I step on too many toes and the invite doesn't come. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, shit. Oh, man. That's called adapting. I like that. Hey, I mean, given what you know and what you've heard about all this stuff, and I guess you could chime in about this stuff we just talked about. SSD talk's getting old, but it's kind of official out there now. They did all the interviews. Just kind of give your take and fill some time.
I think it's exciting stuff. I mean, the ability to basically eliminate load times is a big thing, of course. If anything, loads this generation have gotten obscene, like gnarly obscene. I'll use Star Wars Fallen Order as an example. Every time I, was cut down, it would take 30 seconds or what have you. And in that 30 seconds, I could talk myself out of continuing because I'd be pissy or whatever, just like, damn it. Whereas if it was a snap of a finger or two when I was back in fighting, I'm just more likely to keep going with a lot of stuff. I don't like loads. I really don't like them at all. It's interesting with the game design perspective. Again, we're going to see some stuff, less texture popping in. You're not going to have maybe corridors as much anymore, but some games still want to have you crawling through cracks slowly with the camera zoomed in and stuff like that. That's just the image they want to have at the moment in real life. When you're climbing through mountains, you're going to come across areas like that, I guess. But I don't think it's going to be as drastic as people think. It's not going to be a night and day thing as far as game design is concerned. Things are just going to load in really fast, and they're going to be able to load stuff that's super far away in really fast at the same time, and everything will have the same quality and whatnot, and we'll have more variety. Right now in Grand Theft Auto, you jump into that super rare, you've only ever found it once, red Ferrari, and then the second you turn around in the block there's 5 more right in front of you, because the game has limited memory and the ability to pull in new assets constantly as you're driving around 200 miles an hour. So you end up with repeated stuff. So we see the same car we're currently in, or we see a lot of the same pedestrians that you're currently looking at and stuff. We'll get rid of a lot of that. You just get more variety. It's going to be good. I'm not the biggest, deepest tech guy, but velocity sounds interesting. Sounds great. I just want these games to be quick.
It's
fast,
easy for people to say, like,
you know?
okay, I'm done with SSD talk, and trust me, we are too. But I'm the one getting a billion questions about it. When you guys start experiencing the speed of the box and how you're going to be able to jump from game to game and stuff, you're really going to learn how to appreciate this and why that's one of the biggest investments in the box. There's a reason for that. It really does enable that experience. And we do have somebody in the Super Chat, Kirby, is the developer. He does have more information on Crack, and Cerny did confirm this is more of a file path based IO system for their. So I want to know more about how that works, though, man. Fuck, you should have DM me if you got anything else on that, because I don't know enough about it. I know Xbox are using a ton of storage there to enable for the developers, and I want to know what Sony are doing and how they're competing there, and how the gap gets moved around in different areas based off of the pure IO or the pure capability differences. We've also got Hellmatrix. He says, I don't care what kind of technology they got for which one is better, PS5 or Series X. Just give me my fucking 60 FPS. I agree, sir. I want the 60 FPS.
60 frames.
My only concern with these new drives, though, is the size. They're small. I know everyone's like, you just transfer. You transfer them off of your standard external to the internal, and that's all fine and dandy, but it's got to be quick. These games today are huge. If I'm transferring Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that's 180 gig. So if that's taking any more than 5 minutes, that's too long. If it can transfer that speed in 5 minutes or less, then I'm fine with it. But I like having dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of games available to me for the spur of the moment. I'm in the mood, this one right now. And if I have to wait too long to transfer one of my games over to this internal to play it, and it takes a long time, I think that's going to suck. That's really my only concern, is the size of the drive seems small. Meanwhile, game sizes are huge.
Shady's like, if it takes more time than it takes to make a Hot Pocket, I'm done.
It's possible. Like, I remember when I was a physical gamer back on the 360 mostly, and the time it took for me to get up off the couch, walk across the room to get the game that I was in the mood for, I would be out of already. It's like, maybe I'll play the one beside it, or maybe this one. And like, it's petty. That's a me problem. But I can talk myself out of doing something very, very quick. And if I want to play, Gears, but I have to transfer it first, and it's going to take 10 minutes. I mean, I'm a smoker. I can go out and have a smoke or two, have a hoot or two, have a night sesh. But I mean, I like the ability to just press the button and away it goes. So if it's quick transfer, I'm all on board. But if this thing's taking minutes and minutes every time, that's going to suck. I bounce around a lot of games, I guess, is what I'm saying. I play a lot of games at once. I've got 4 or 5 different multiplayer ones on the go, plus my single player stuff, a couple racers, indies, and 1 gig or 1 terabyte. That's not a lot of space.
Well, what do you think about the fact that fucking Flight Simulator ain't coming to Xbox right now?
I can wait. Similar to Gears Tactics. It's a bummer. I wish it was. But, I mean, I'd rather play that game again on the Series X, where it's going to look its best, than play it on the One X right now. That's just me. I know there's people out there that don't understand. I don't really get it. Why wasn't Gears Tactics stay in date on everything? And same with this game. I'd rather it was that and let people choose, but it is what it is. I mean, in my world, there's so many games to play. There's too many games to play that I can wait when stuff like this comes out. I don't freak out anymore over that shit.
Where's my fucking Xbox? Microsoft Xbox Game Studio Xbox game on my Xbox. Where's it at?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, it's not there. Killer Phil just got off the phone with him, and he says it's coming. But you know, I wish it was. For those that do want it, I wish it was there. But I'm personally, from just me, I'm willing to wait. I'm not gonna make a big stink of it.
Well,
I think
It's
it has to
weird
do
that it's
more with
gone.
the
Can I-
game. I think it
can
has
I
to do
j-
more with the game.
Can I ask him
Yeah.
a question real quick, Tim? Do you think the reason why they're holding this off the Xbox is because they're waiting for the Series X, which is really going to showcase this game? Because I don't see the Xbox One really playing this game as good as the Series X.
For the VCR, come on.
No, what I think is that anything that's in game studios, no matter what's going to go to console, vice versa to PC. And with that being said, the reason why Flight Sim is not on Xbox day and date is because simply the PC, it was made for PC. PC was Flight Sim was always on PC. It was never on a console. So this is the first time that it's ever coming over, and similar to what they did with Gears Tactic. You can make more of a case that should have been day and date, and I do think that they discussed that they were gonna make it day and date. They were gonna basically hold it off till launch, but they just said, you know what, we can get the PC version out now, and they went with that. I don't think this is gonna be a reoccurring thing. I do think, though, in actuality, it's gonna benefit console gamers because games that you wouldn't see on console, you're now going to see, and that includes Flight Simulator, that includes the new Age of Empire 4, that includes Gears Tactics. Well, Gears Tactics might but Flight Simulator and Age of Empires. That they haven't announced anything, but I could definitely. I think that one of the things is that anything that's on Xbox Game Studios is going to be on console, and it's also going to be on PC. It's just that in this case, this was always meant for PC. It has the beta has been on PC. The whole lineage of Flight Simulator has always been on PC. It's equivalent to like World of Warcraft. That's been always on PC and it's coming over to console. So in a way, I can understand why people get upset, but in a way, it's actually a good thing if they can get like Age of Empire 4, that game looks awesome. They can get that to come to console, then I'm okay with it if it's not day and date, because I know those games have never ever been on the console, and there would have never been a chance of them going to the console other than now that they're within studios, you can actually get those games on console. So it's in a way it's annoying. I agree. It's maybe not the best optics, as Kid Smooth said, but in actuality, if you're ending up with Flight Sim and you're ending up with Age of Empire games and anything that's made by Xbox Game Studios on PC actually being put in work and put in to come over to console, it's actually a pretty good thing.
Also, for a Flight Simulator, you're going to need the full system. You're going to need the flight stick to really enjoy that game as well. So it really, you're right. It really is suited to the PC more.
I want to give a
I
shout
thought
out
it was
to
arcade
to everyone watching live, guys. Over 2,200 people watching live, guys. Hit the like button, show a buddy or two. Really help. I really appreciate it. I also got to give a shout out, and this doesn't happen very often that somebody has the goal to pay to actually say something like this. But Eternal says 3080 will crap all over these new consoles.
Ooh.
All right, well, it craps all over your wallet too. So, there's a big price difference there, and I thought that would be not worth even. And right now, I'm going to give a moment of silence, Tim Dog, for all of those fake insiders pushing for that 13 teraflop PS5. R.I.P. Remember, T-flops mattered then. You guys mock them now, but you definitely wanted all 13 T-flops on that PS5. Hashtag never forget.
Yeah.
I think we lost some insiders yesterday too. Wasn't the
Little caskets and stuff rolling down the street now?
Iron Man VR, shout out to you and your Twitter. You actually had some articles written about you. You are another fallen PS insider. So we have
Who?
you. His name is Iron Man VR.
Never
That's
heard.
the guy. He's an alleged Sony insider. But there was supposed to be a price. Even Jeffrey Grubb, shout out to him. He was kind of interested, saying that we would get it possibly because they updated all their Amazon pages in every region. But that's probably what that guy was referring to. But there was obviously no price. I don't know why you just put a price out in the middle of nowhere.
I've never seen so many insiders out themselves as non-insiders than I have in the last like 3 months, guys. My God, it's just been outrageous, like to another level. It was frustrating to watch.
Yeah, like guys like Klee Gamer, who was thrown in my face and dealer's face, like and lauded on Reset Era.
I believe
That guy was such a fraud that he, basically when he knew that he was lying and he was making shit up, he just outed himself.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, he asked for a badge. You're so bad.
Jeez.
Why y'all gotta do a burnout over the corpse? I mean, you guys need to calm down.
I got
Fun.
Buck snacks. Zalker, did you take your vitamins today, buddy?
Bitch, I'm actually fucking dead. No, I'm not gonna even lie, dude. Work was just murder today, and I came on and I was like, oh shit.
Okay.
It was bad.
Well, I mean,
And
would you like to?
Would
Would
you?
you?
The clock.
Yeah, that's not good. Would you like to add anything to the fact that Jay's 2 cents is kind of throwing in here, and this isn't good news for PC guys anymore. Like, you just can't compete with the system. It works different now. It's a different era.
Yep. Are you talking about?
What are you gonna do?
Are you talking about the 3080 he was talking about? Is that what you're talking about?
He's comparing like the price and PC gamers
no.
building the console killer PC. He said it's impossible now, like by far, way impossible.
Well, I mean, let's just like what you said earlier, right? It's going to kill your wallet. And it is. Like, if you're going to build a PC to combat the Xbox Series X, then I don't understand why you're doing that. Like, when I build a PC, I don't do it just for gaming. I do it for multiple things. If you just want a game, why not just get the fucking console? It's going to be powerful, it's going to be cheaper, and it's going to be better for you to play games on.
Like,
It just
hardcore
makes
gamers
sense.
talking.
But I mean, we're all hardcore gamers here, and I game on PC. Like, I love playing on PC, but I'm not sitting there dropping like $3,000 to beat an Xbox. Like, that's just the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, that's not what PC gamers do. They do it because they love the performance and they love other stuff that they can do on the PC, not just gaming. That's what it is. And so if you're just trying to like be an idiot, then to me, I already know that you don't have a PC that's worth a shit.
So as a PC gamer, I'll say this. I don't know. PC gamers, a lot of gamers can just be fucking toxic. Let's just be honest. But PC gamers, they kind of sit on that throne a little bit. But I'll say this. PC gamers should be really thanking console gamers right now, because what the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X is doing right now, it's going to benefit them the next generation. Not only in the games that they're going to get, Xbox games going to PC, PlayStation games going to PC, but the optimization that they're going to get, as well as the pricing. Now, if everything is correct, what we're hearing, that the Xbox Series X is going to be $500 and the PlayStation 5 is going to be $400, there's no way in hell that NVIDIA is going to get away with selling a 380, a 3080, or a 3080, or a 3090, or a 3080 Ti, or whatever the fuck is going to be their top card at the same prices that they did this generation. Like, who's going to buy that? PC guys, they're going to look at the consoles. They're going to say, listen, I can get 4K 60. If I get an Xbox Series X, I can get 4K 120 on some titles. I can get 4K 60. It's $500. A lot of PC guys, they might get a console to complement their PC. A lot of new builders might not get a PC if the prices are so high. So I think PC prices are actually going to drop a little bit this generation.
And I'll be honestly, I think PC gamers should really thank Xbox, because to me, the best PC developer ever was Blizzard, and Activision murdered them. Valve used to be amazing, but they haven't brought out shit. And there's not really a lot of like so-called PC exclusives out there that actually really stand out anymore. And a lot of the developers do not develop for PC. That's just what it is. Like, it sucks. I don't like that, because I want those developers to come back strong and do something.
You know what developers do develop for PC?
Huh?
The ones that made Death Stranding come to PC.
I hate you.
How do you feel about that? It's got ray tracing and DXR and all that stuff.
I
just feel like I beta tested it.
Well, wait a second. How does it have all these features? How does it have ray tracing? It's on the PlayStation 4. What's going on?
I just
runs
runs
60
in the
frames.
game.
It should be held back.
Jeez.
Fonz, why are you holding the game back?
I don't know. I don't understand why these guys like to say, Xbox is going to hold back, the Series X and all this stuff. It's crazy to me. Like, I mean, if you look at what Digital Foundry came out and said today about the PC version of Death Stranding, right at the beginning when he said, "Let me just take some time out to tell you how much better this game is visually and how it performs at just 60 frames alone, without all the other bells and whistles they've added." So, I mean, that right there is just, it was music to my ears. So I put that out on Twitter.
I've seen some of you doubting
people
it.
were upset. So
how could the game just be better because it's 60 frames alone? That makes no sense.
Oh my God,
it makes
'cause it
perfect
feels
sense.
better.
That's I had to choke down my response, man, and be the bigger man and just let it slide. 'Cause I can't handle those comments
all
anymore.
these frauds out here that are saying that they honestly like filmic gaming, that they honestly prefer 30 FPS over 60. You guys have something wrong with you if you honestly prefer that.
God, we can't. All right. We can't go back to SSD. We can't go back to frame rate. Y'all motherfuckers keep reading.
Back to that PC thing. How much is this 3080? Just the card. How much is that card going to cost?
I don't know. It was a quick thing. Like, hey, PC guys, you're definitely fucked this time around. Like, there's no way you're doing it. Don't even try. Jay's 2 cents. He gave you his 2 cents, and they were worth $1,200.
He couldn't even find a current. He couldn't even find a current gen GPU, obviously, because it's RDNA 2. That is the equivalent to it. That he had to say, it's basically fucking 2080 Ti territory. That's the only thing that really compares to it right now.
That's nice territory to be in.
Yeah, man. For a console, $500. Come on.
Deshaun really wanted us to talk about Death Stranding for some reason. I'm not trying to talk about delivering shit. Like
I'll say one thing about Death Stranding though, on the 30 frames per second shit. Like they had them side by side in Digital Foundry's thing, and you could clearly see the benefits of 60 frames per second over 30 frames per second. The 30 frame per second footage, the bird was going by, and it was like 5 little fucking birds. Like the one bird was like frame by frame by frame. The 60 frames per second side, it was just buttery smooth, and this improves the gameplay, obviously improves the visuals because it's just a smoother presentation. Demand 30 frames per second next generation, guys. There is a difference. Damn it.
It is. The easiest way to see is look at the background and spin the camera around. 30 frames drags across your screen. 60 frames maintains the shape of everything. It's crisp as you're spinning around. I've told a few people that have come to me and what's the difference? I can't see it. Look at the background and spin your camera. One is dragging, the other one is crisp. 60 frames is crisp. It just plays so much better. It's easier on the eyes, especially to those guys that are used to high frame rates. Going down to 30, it can be rough if you've been playing a lot of 60 games. It just feels off.
Yeah, I don't know. Tryhard fan nails it too. Says he didn't know how anybody could prefer it. That's the thing, Tryhard. I don't think anybody, unless you get some kind of motion sickness, like poor souls. I know that does happen to some people, but I feel like that's impossible. You want to see some judder and fucking, you're just like, unless you're like shaking all over the place. I don't know how the fuck you could prefer 30. I don't see it.
If you have motion sickness, the higher the frame rate, the less likely you are to get motion sick. Actually, the lower the frame rate, the more likely it is because it's unnatural and it's missing frames and it's dragging and skipping. You're more likely to. That's why VR has to be minimum 120. That's like the entry point to VR games. Otherwise, people are getting sick left and right.
People keep bringing up Valhalla Dawn, for instance. Yeah, it's 30. That doesn't mean that it has to be 30. You understand? Well, actually, for one, it's not even confirmed 30. We need to walk that back for now. But it will likely be capped at 30. Maybe they'll add a performance mode later. If it is 30, that doesn't mean that it's actually stuck at 30. That's just how they decided to port it through smart delivery, and I don't know what kind of work goes into that. I have no clue. So there's got to be a reason. They tied animations or physics or something for some dumb reason, maybe to the frame rate on the console version, which seems really stupid.
I'll be honest, it's down to optimization. It's down to them just wanting to have that 4K so it just looks pretty and saying, you know what, this is my thoughts. Console guys are peasants, and you know what? They like 30 frames per second, so we're going to give them 30 frames per second, and they're going to like it. And gamers have to stand up and say, no, man, we don't want 30 frames per second. Give us a 60 frames per second mode. And if you demand it, these guys, they want your money, right? So if you demand it and you put your money where your wallet is, then that's when the change will happen. And like, I don't know, man, scream for the mountaintops. This game needs to have a 60 frames per second mode, even if it's 1080p. I don't give a shit.
Nate 50 cal says it's time to rise up against the 30 FPS people. And then we've got we got Jermaine, who is complaining because not everybody thinks exactly like he does, and he doesn't actually give a shit if he gets any of the value from the box he's paying $500 for. Holy shit. I won't explain that again. So yeah, Jay's 2 cents. He's basically saying, hey, it's, you don't stand a chance trying to build a PC that matches this thing. And we'll just leave it at that. I definitely agree. A lot of power here. Bill Spencer and company, we'll just say executives, Microsoft executives, they are talking about next generation. Zocker, did you do a video on this? Surely you did.
About next generation?
The final topic, Zocker.
Gonna make me look at it. I'm watching this Batman gameplay. It's fire. Go ahead.
It is fire.
Yeah,
basically,
I made a video about
we're talking about the memes and stuff.
Yeah, basically what Phil said is that people that say that that it's being held back by like either the Xbox Series S or them putting their games on the Xbox One it's kind of like a meme. Like it's just like joke at this point, because PC has proven that that's not true. You can make a game for lowest common denominator and then bring it up and have it be looking amazing, like Crysis or anything like that. It ran on other crappy shit. It could run on the best shit. And that's what he's trying to say here, is that they never want to. He kind of attacked, right? He attacked Sony's strategy. He doesn't want to have people and tell them, his customers, you have to buy an Xbox Series X to play this. He never wants to make that decision for you. He wants you to be able to play your games on your Xbox One or your Series X if you want to upgrade, and it'll look better and perform better on there. But again, it's up to you. And Sony's basically forcing people, like we talked earlier, to buy a PlayStation 5 for Spider-Man or Horizon or whatever. But everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be held back and Xbox is going to be like this for a while. No, they're just letting you do that for the first year or two. And that's what they've confirmed. That's what they've talked about. And I agree with that strategy. Some people don't want to upgrade. I know people that don't want to upgrade because COVID hasn't been the best to them. And they can't upgrade. So a lot of those people, because of COVID, because of whatever, can't do what they need to do, because can't play Spider-Man or, escape reality because they have to buy a $500 box. I just find it stupid. I think what Sony's doing is really bad. I don't agree with it, and I think Xbox's strategy is actually a lot better because it's a lot more customer friendly.
I can just add.
I don't think it's necessarily they say it's bad.
It's traditional.
It's traditional. That's what has always been done. It's just here we're looking at this plain and simply. This is all marketing stuff that he's talking about here. He's just marketing his console. They're trying to make the most money they can. So of course, what do? Not everybody is going to upgrade the moment a new console launches. It takes a while for the majority of people leaving last gen going to next gen. It usually honestly takes a year or two for that. So in my eyes, and what I see here is they're just using this transitional time wisely. They're still keeping people in the loop, getting their games. They're still spending money in their ecosystem, and that's what they're doing during this transition time. It's all marketing. It's all business 101 here for Xbox. I get it. It makes sense that way. It's not traditional, so some people are upset about it. It's dumb. Don't be upset. It's not going to hold anything back regardless. I just think some people are just blowing it way out of proportion. But at the end of the day, it's business. It's a business move. It makes sense.
What Xbox is doing is traditional as far as PC goes, right? Like the PC does it the way Xbox is doing it now. There's no technical gens. Games just get better, and if you have better hardware, they look better. And
it's actually harder on the PC because they got way more configurations to figure out. But Phil also alluded to, like, this goes over people's head, everything that he says. He also alluded to the medium. He's like, listen, the medium, it's not possible on the current generation, so it's not coming to the current generation. So their model is basically like, if the game, it's not going to hold back, the game on the Xbox Series X. If we can actually have it run on the Xbox One, and run on the Series X, we're going to have it run on the Series X. If the game truly is utilizing next generation features, then it's only going to be on the Xbox Series X. Whereas Sony's saying, nah, man, all the games are going to be on the PlayStation 5. You're out of luck. You know what? We promised you guys that we would be there until the PlayStation 5 came out. And you know what? It's out today. And if you want to play games, you know what? Come over here and play the new games. You can't play them on your PlayStation 4, even though they can play on it. And Sony's playing a dangerous game here, similar to the game that Microsoft played when they said, you know what? If you don't like, that the system is online, we got a system for you. I don't want to say it's as bad as that, but a lot of gamers are upset. I got a lot of guys in my comments that say, listen, I'm a Sony guy. And you know what? I don't even like what they're doing this generation, and I got a second guess if I'm gonna jump day one because they're kind of forcing my hand, and you know I'm not ready.
Yeah, it kind of highlights that Sony's
Gotta
approach
pace
is
yourself, D.
willing to they're willing to set up artificial barriers to entry to some of these titles, whereas Xbox, if there's going to be a next generation barrier to entry, it's because the game requires it, not because Xbox has decided it.
I mean, there's some kind of work, but you do have to emphasize. You got to stress the fact that this is the first time ever in a console gen it's x86 to x86. I said it a million times because it's very important. You know, you've had to shift before. But this time, it's not nearly the task it used to be. It's just, it is interesting. They can do whatever they want, right? This is actually normal. Microsoft are changing it, and I think their approach is more pro-consumer, and it does take after the PC model. That's why it's always weird when you hear someone saying, I'm not getting an Xbox out of PC, and I'm like, well, aren't you held back? Your same logic applies. You're still held back, right? So I think that it's interesting Sony are doing that. You know they're losing sales if they really aren't bringing Spider-Man to PS4. There's no technical reason that we can spot in terms of game design. They would limit that. Same for Gran Turismo, right? Ratchet and Clank, SSD, need it. Got it. Other games, not so much. Microsoft doing the opposite. I just don't want to hate. We've been talking about games and games and games like for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we're finally back on like a very tech-focused show because of the architecture and all that stuff. And it's one of those things where I just don't even harp on it anymore. Like, the stuff was out there, and at the end of the day, Sony are going to do what they do. And if they change their mind, then that's great for the consumer. But people need to start thinking about the consumer and stop thinking about what would, you know, if Microsoft are telling you, fuck you, upgrade, and I'm looking at the same situation where Sony's like letting us play on the PS4 because the game design isn't bottlenecked, I would be saying the same shit. Like, but it's not.
Though I think the worst thing that Sony is doing right now is not necessarily that they're going traditional here in a sense that, you know, the new games are going to be on the new console and that's it. I don't have an issue with that at all. But what I do have an issue with is this whole thing that since we are in x86 architecture, why the hell don't all their games work on this new x86 architecture machine? Like,
a full BC
to me,
with
that's
PS4.
kind of weird that their PS4 games aren't working. You know,
I mean, you know
doesn't
why.
make sense
We were
to me.
here when we were the first ones to cover that. Hardware back compat.
It's not, yeah, but it's not good because that is what has a lot of people pissed off. Some of these guys are Sony guys and they're pissed off and they're telling me that, hey, if all my PS4 games aren't going to come with me, that's bullshit. And I'm just like, well, take it up with Sony.
That's actually how Microsoft knew that Sony were sticking with 36E. It was either that or another multiple of 18, and they knew they weren't going that high. So they knew they were going to have 36EU, and it turns out they clocked it to hell, and they got the shift system in there. They needed it for backwards compatibility. And unless they figure out a software solution like Microsoft, they will have to consider that yet again for the PS6.
I gotta say, their software solution for backwards compatibility sucks because you're right, Fonz. Their games, in essence, they should work. They should scale. Like, you know, maybe some of them will have a worse frame rate or worse texture or whatnot. But otherwise, it should run. And especially, I know we're coming around to this game and it's just pissing me off. But Spider-Man is another example of that. And the reason why I get so mad with Spider-Man is because Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 looked absolutely stunning. Okay? So there's no reason why they can't have a version of the PlayStation 5 DLC on that system, seeing how it's fucking based on that. All they got to do is take away the ray tracing, you know, their faster loads, whatever. They don't even have to do much because the game is already built on the PlayStation 4. It's DLC. It's ridiculous.
Do you think the visual differences between PS4 Pro version of this potential Miles Morales and the PS5 version weren't big enough in their minds to warrant? If people saw them side by side, there would be no need. There is no upgrade need. What's the point, right?
That could be a reason too, because the game, realistically, from what I saw, but of course it's not the final build, I saw better textures for sure. You know, there's going to be ray tracing in it, and it's going to have a higher resolution, but it's not a huge departure from what I saw on the PlayStation 4, apart from just, you know, being a sharper image, right? So
yeah, if it's just a subtle difference, then I could see a lot of people wanting to stick with what they got. I mean, it's the same with Halo. When we finally see the Series X version versus the original VCR Xbox version, if there isn't a night and day difference, you will have a lot of people that are going, well, I guess I don't have to upgrade. I'll just play it wherever I got it because they look almost the same. But if there is a very stark contrast in the quality of visuals on display, that alone should be the reason people would need. But maybe Spider-Man just didn't showcase that.
Well,
Before we move forward, I need to head out actually now for work. So
Oh.
that sucks.
nice, Zocker.
First
Well,
time I have to leave
nice,
early.
Zocker.
Chat, you guys are awesome. Podcast, you guys are awesome. Everybody in the panel. Shady, it was good to have you on.
enjoy your nap,
Sorry
Zocker.
for the early exit.
Well, have a good one, Soccer. Sorry you had to leave early, but it was good
Yeah.
talking with you again. Love to do it
Yeah.
more in the future.
Give Zocker a thumbs up, chat. Yeah, Zocker, thanks for being here, buddy. You were very
Sorry,
tired.
man.
You had a rough night.
Oh, it's going to be even worse.
Just
now.
get the cream and do as instructed. You're gonna be fine.
cream.
The cream.
Bite down on the belt, apply the lube, and get the job done.
All right.
Jesus.
Oh, Shady's like, let me creep this shit up. Hey, White Wolf on Twitter.
All right, boys, you guys have a good one.
See you later, buddy. He says 8 chicken nuggets and seeing dealer. Yeah, he's got a video on Twitter watching the podcast. Thank you. Everyone on Twitter, everyone supporting the show. Again, if you haven't hit the like button, it really helps. You guys are awesome. Sorry, it's just kind of a weird show. It's kind of a weird show, but I'm going to own it. And we're going to come back stronger next week. Thanks for supporting us. At the end of the day, Microsoft saying, hey, those saying we're held back, it's a meme because games that can't run on older CPUs, hard drives, we're not going to run them there. Medium's a prime example. We're not going to run them there. Usually those more innovative games that change up things and need that kind of requirement usually come a couple years out after the generation anyway. That's when you see the uptick in graphics. And they're timing all this stuff. So, again, if Hellblade, Tim, does Hellblade run on the original Xbox One?
What do you mean, Hellblade 2?
Yeah.
No. Will it? Hellblade 2 or 1?
Well, obviously, Hellblade 1 runs on the.
Is Hellblade 2 an original Xbox One game?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
Because if it is, Tim Dog, and we know it's going to look pretty damn similar. They already confirmed that was running in real time, right? It was a real time pre-rendered thing. It's like me showing you gameplay on a YouTube video.
Were you talking about Hellblade 2?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
Hellblade
Yeah.
It looks a lot different than Hellblade 1, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if that was, I mean, obviously, you're not going to come close to what you saw. I mean, I don't know what the development is on that, but yeah, obviously what you saw, and it was confirmed to be real time today again, even though Digital Foundry had a video after it came out saying it was in engine, but they weren't sure if it was real time. But I think it's now been confirmed by Epic that it's real time today. They talked about it. I mean, that's the most visually stunning next gen game I think shown up to this point. It would not look good on Xbox One. It would look what you would expect.
well, my point is, if that game, as good as it looks, can scale down to an Xbox One, and that actually happens, which, to my knowledge, it's going to run on the Xbox One, then that is incredible. And your arguments of games held back visually, which is already factually wrong, you have no choice but to concede there. So, again, Hellblade looks incredible. Yeah, 24 FPS. Drop the resolution fucking 4%, get up to 30, whatever. Right? It's just a matter of resolution.
We want the filmic.
I want the filmic effect, the Jez Corden effect. But again, guys, we're actually having Jez on sometime here soon. He's kind of doing his thing, getting a little better. We've also got Miles from Windows Central coming on to the show eventually as well. And then Drix, R&B artist. I was supposed to have him on. I mean, his music's really good. Like, legitimately, I've been listening to a lot of Drix. Make fun of his. I've heard people say things about his name. I really enjoy his music, and I was going to have him on the show just because he's a big fan. Like, I noticed he was following me, and he watched the show, and this guy's like top 11 on iTunes. So it's really cool. We got a few different artists and stuff that watch the show, and it's just weird, man. It's crazy. So again, that's all because of you, and you guys power everything that we do, guys. Again, we are going to spare you the torture of dragging this out any longer after such a weird show, and say thanks to the Friendly Neighborhood Blue Shell. Great podcast. Thanks for the show. And 60 FPS or death. Yes, leading the charge. We've also got Stormwalker. He says it's not only marketing. Microsoft approach is actually, with the next gen consumer friendly one, while helping the company as well. So you do expand sales, you expand your reach, and xCloud comes in on top of that as well. Justin, shout out to you as well. This is an older one, but he said Society is in the house. Hey, I already read that one. What the fuck? Never mind, Justin. Thank you. Dreadpool. He says, how is Sony... I'm reading this in slow motion here. How is Sony traditional when they are the ones that are actually they're stopping the backwards compatibility stuff. I don't know. They are doing things different, man. It's a weird time to be Sony. You ever think Sony just woke up and they had the wrong clothes on and they're sleeping on the wrong side of the bed, and you know what I'm saying? This is a weird time to be Sony. Like they had it in the bag with the digital games. People had thousands of games on the PS4. It's like, okay, well, obviously I got to go to the PS5. I got all my money tied in this ecosystem. They fucked it up, right? At least at launch, you're only gonna have 100 or so games that confirm that at launch. Then they got the power thing. They fucked that up too to a lot of people. That's why they were all pushing for 13 T-flops. So again, I don't know. They don't even have the cross-gen support like some thought they would have. And then it's very interesting, Tim. Very interesting. We didn't count on them doing this, so we knew the power and stuff, but they did a lot more to help Microsoft than we thought they would do. And a lot of people I had some very, very well-known people in the DMs the day before PS5 spec reveal freaking out. And, the only thing Tim and I could do was like, calm down. It's exactly where we think it is, right? Series X is faster.
I bet that PS5 is more powerful.
I don't know, man. Like it was crazy, but again, at the end of the day, guys, thanks for checking us out. We are gonna get out of here. You guys are awesome.
That was definitely a crazy day.
It was, man. It was, and God, I'm so glad it's over. Again, if you haven't hit the like button, guys, do appreciate it. Check out the links down below. Patreon, join the channel if you want to support the channel. We'll be back full strength, recharging in the sun until next Tuesday. I'll crawl back in as a crisp, and we'll get the energy going and have shit actually together, and YouTube won't fuck us up at the beginning like it did this time. Everyone in the chat, shit's moving quick. Thank you. We're gonna do some outros. Shout out to the patrons. D-Batch, what have you been playing, buddy? Where can people find you?
I haven't really been playing anything. Weird. I'm flying. I've just been flying my drone a lot.
You're playing Peep Drone.
Yeah, man. I'm loving my Mavic Air 2. That's all I gotta say. If you're a gamer, you'll fall in love with the drone. The sticks just feel comfortable in the hand. It's just like gaming. I can't wait for Ghost of Tsushima this Friday, though. I'm looking forward to playing that. You guys can catch me on Twitter at D_batch, and of course at YouTube at dbatch. I dropped a video. I dropped the video today on the Velocity architecture. I kind of go in on it, so go check that out if you want some details on it. Yeah, it was a great show tonight. Obviously, when we talk tech, this is one of my best shows. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, D-Batch. We've also got, well, I guess Doc already left. Fawn's already left too. Tim, what have you been playing, buddy? Where can people find you?
Playing Xbox on Xbox. I've been playing Madden franchise mode. I'm like fourth season in. On Xbox, you can find me on xCloud TimDog. On Twitter, you can find me xCloud TimDog. I'm here every week. Also Sunday nights TXR at 9 p.m. Just thanks for the chat. It was a little bit of a rocky show, but we'll get back at it next week, and we got a lot to talk about. And then Thursday is the big day, so I hope everyone's really excited.
That's right. We're coming back on not this upcoming Thursday, the one after that too, right? So,
well, maybe who knows? Maybe we should do something on that day. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm definitely, because that's E3, right? I've gotten so many requests.
When is it? Is it what time is it? I'd have to take off work.
On the 23rd, it's at 9 a.m. Pacific, I think.
So
it's in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Failed pyromancer, you fraud. Obi-Wan, thank you. Whatever you just said, appreciate it. Aldinian. Also, Xbox fanboy. Shout out to you, buddy. Black Manta, all you guys in the chat. Yeah, Tim, we'll definitely do a show after their big event and all the stuff's revealed, and we can finally say, all right, Microsoft, you did deliver. That's what we're hoping we could say, but we're not gonna lie, right? So we're looking forward to it.
We don't have a show where we're like, they didn't show it at that point.
And not another E3 2019 show, right?
Oh no.
Yeah.
They have to do the right thing. If they don't, I don't know. But I do think they are going to do the right thing. So
We got some faith, though, Chad. We got some faith. Shady, where can people find you, buddy? And what have you been playing?
Yeah, first off, man, I just wanted to say thanks again for making my return to the podcast scene special for me. You know, being able to come back and talk with the guys that I started this whole thing with a couple of years ago. It means a lot to me, man. It's awesome. I respect you guys a ton. I listen every week. You know your stuff. You keep the facts. You talk no shit. And the audience is ginormous. I'm not going to lie, man. It's nice being able to say I'm back and ready to do some shows, man, to 50,000 people at the end of the week, which is absolutely incredible. Again, congratulations onto that. Recently, I've been playing a ridiculous amount of Modern Warfare, dude. I'm like an addict main. You can find me in that game. It's going to be a bloody murder if I catch you in my aim. I dominate. I'm winning match after match. If I'm not the best player in the entire round, I'm the best player on my team 9 out of 10 times, and that feels damn good. So it's hard for me to be playing other stuff, but I did get into the newest Need for Speed once it hit EA Access. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I think the cars look fantastic, very arcadey. I like getting my drift on. I'm feeling it. And then I started up Gears 5 again today. The new operation just launched. They've completely revamped the monetization of the game. They are throwing out in-game currency left and right now. You can buy anything from the store with that. The prices are fair. I was very impressed with what they've done with that. There's a lot of cool cosmetics available in their free battle pass and stuff. New levels. I'm looking forward to getting back into that with maybe other Zinc. I know he's playing all the time. Huge fan. We got to team up and take names and Gears, man. It's good stuff. And I'm just slobbering like an absolute animal waiting for this news coming up on the 23rd and finally for these systems to drop, dude. I just can't wait. I cannot wait. Super hyped. Thank you once again for having me on, giving me a chance to talk to the giant audience you've got. It was awesome, man. I look forward to doing it again. Hopefully it's more than, once every half a year. Love to come back as often as I can. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Thank you, all the agents of the Sesh Empire. That is where you can find me. My community currently resides in the cesspool known as Twitter, at the Sesh Empire. I try and keep things positive. I just want to talk games. What interests you? I'm sharing what interests me. I'm out to have a good time and laugh more than anything else, man. I don't like the negativity. I don't like the trolling. I'm not down with that stuff. So thanks again, everyone. Be safe out there with everything still going on. It is very much a real thing. Don't kid yourselves. Be safe and happy gaming. Take it easy.
God damn, Shady, that was probably a record, man. You even had a little rap in there, huh?
Yeah, I did. There was one more thing. I didn't even bring it up. It's story time. I'll make this as quick as I can. I just got VR last week. We got an Oculus Quest, and it's the first time I've jumped into VR. My expectations were completely blown out of the water. It is on another level of immersion that I wasn't expecting it to be. It looked so much better. It played so much better than I thought it was going to. Like real one-to-one stuff. I was playing like Super Hot and Beat Saber and I forgot the name of the other game I was playing. It's another kind of like rhythm shooter, and they were just absolutely fantastic. I was like Neo in my living room, dodging the bullets and the shots, and it was incredible. I was completely blown away. And then I played another game, and my buddy passes it to me, and he's like, "So you want to try it on advanced controls?" Yeah, of course. You're talking to a hardcore gamer, man. Advanced controls, which means that the sticks would move my character in the game, and I would just look around as I could walk and stuff. I played the game for 3 minutes. And I was trying to give myself this vertigo that people talk about. So I'm staring at the ground at my feet, walking backwards and left and right, and I would suddenly get hit with like a wave of not good. And then I kept repeating it, kept doing it over and over again to see if I would get used to it. Less than 3 minutes, I had to take the headset off. I was brutally ill. I was puking uncontrollably hard for about 2 hours. And then for the next 28 hours, I felt off. In a not good feeling way. Like for anyone that drinks out there, really bad hangover, tail end of that. It felt like that, man. I was not prepared for that type of reaction. It kind of scared me away from that game for the time being. I've gone in and played the other ones that were great. Since
so
then,
recap, you literally put a headset on and started breakdancing at 74 frames per second in VR.
I was sitting on the couch playing this game, and you could walk with the stick. So the left stick would walk you forward and back and strafe you left and right, and the right stick would just turn like your character's shoulders. And because I'm in VR, my character's head was me, so I could look at my feet and walk backwards or forwards, or turn around and look behind me and walk backwards. And that's what I was doing, as I was looking not where I was walking, and I started to get this really weird feeling, similar to if you're at a stoplight and a bus pulls up. When
You got dizzy, bitch. That's what you're trying to say. Shit.
Feeling, man. It was really bad. So like next time I go in and I try that game, I'll turn the advanced controls off and I'll try. I just want to get acclimated.
Was it like food poisoning? Was it like
very similar? Like I know that you're not a drinker, so saying a hangover doesn't mean anything, but similar to food poisoning. I was just it was at the beginning extremely nauseous. Like I said, I was throwing up uncontrollably. It was really bad for a few hours, and then it toned down to just an uncomfortable feeling. And when I was scrolling through Twitter too fast, I would start to get a nauseous feeling.
I feel like this is like a fucking epiphany in your life. You're like, I just got fucked up by a VR headset.
That's what it was. It was two things. On one, my mind was completely blown away, and my expectations were vastly met, and then some. On the first couple of games I played, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I can't wait to check out more stuff. And then that other game, less than 3 minutes, had taken me essentially out of the game for 28 hours, and I wasn't prepared for that level of effect on me. So I'm thinking it's just one of those you need to get used to a lot more. This
you got pieced up by a headset, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. It was my first time ever in the VR world, and it was very immersive, needless to say. So I recommend it, but at the same time, it is one of those like, hey, be cautious out there and don't dive in thinking you can handle advanced controls like I did. I didn't bat an eye. Throw it on the hardest, baby. Let's go. You're talking to a gamer. I had no doubts that I was going to be able to handle it, and I was wrong with that. But I look forward to getting back in and checking out as much experience as we can. We bought the Darth Vader game. I'm looking forward to getting into that and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever intentionally strapped 5 VR helmets to your face and spun around and tried to get sick on purpose? Do you have a diagnosis for our friend Shady here? What was happening that day?
You know what? He's got to get his VR legs. That's what we call it.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's what it was. I dove right into the deep end, man, and I sunk. I don't know how to tread water in that realm quite yet, but I'm willing to learn.
You'll get used to it. It doesn't really take that long to get your VR legs. I would say maybe a couple of weeks, and then it's not as jarring. But yeah, because it is a trip, because like you're in there, you're like walking around, you're like, it's trippy. It is trippy.
It is. The level of immersion is something that you just cannot get on a television, no matter how big it is. The scale of everything was real life feeling. I was very, very impressed, and just it's a bummer that I'm one of those people that I guess
I mean, you're literally in the game.
Bit off a bit more than I could chew, right? You literally are. I thought you'd kind of just be looking at a flat screen in front of your eyes, but the Oculus Quest, it was my entire peripheral vision was this world. I could see nothing else but, like, the very first thing I saw was just a white room with a
and then bar filling your screen and your eyeballs.
No, that came later. Like the first couple of games were absolutely incredible. I can't say enough.
Tim, you can
about
bail
how
if you got
amazing they were. But yeah, it got ugly quick with that other game, man. And I think that just comes from what I was doing. I brought it on. Instead of looking in the direction I was walking, I was purposely pushing it and doing things that you normally shouldn't be doing, I think. And I paid the cost, needless to say, but that's my VR story. I thought it was absolutely incredible of an experience. I do recommend people get to try it out. It's an expensive thing to just buy to try. So if you have a friend somewhere or whatnot, go over there and give it a shot. You never know. I was blown away.
Nothing like trying it yourself, basically.
Pretty much. At the end of the day, that's what it is with a lot of games. I can tell if I'm going to like a game more often than not, but until I really do get my hands on it, you just don't know. I've been very surprised by a lot of games in the past that I'd already written off because the trailer didn't look good or what have you. And until you've got hands-on, it's hard to say with games, and VR especially.
Yeah, it's like this game for Soccer is trying to get Soccer to beat Arkham Knight. It's just impossible. So
yeah, some people just got a fraud.
Yeah, you just got a fraud. Hey, Psychonaut, by the way, says it's been a great show. It's got a genuine feeling. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, I do appreciate it, man. And if I could scroll it real quick, and I'm sure I missed one or two of these. I don't know. Yes, I did. Okay. Nope, not that one. All right.
Got a new member in Dave A.
Yeah, thank you, Shady.
Shout out to Dave
Appreciate
A.
it. Dave A. Thank you. Enjoyed that new fancy emoji next to your name. But yeah, guys, if you want to come to the channel, remember hit the join button. Patreon link down below. Subscribe, support all these guys. Follow them on Twitter. And of course, YouTube. D-Batch makes good videos. Zocker makes okay videos, but they're there. Go check out Zocker's videos. Colt Eastwood went here this week. Go check out Colt's videos. Shady's a fuckface. He don't got no videos right now. And obviously check out my last video. If you want to, of course. But again, guys, thank you for what you do. I'm trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of here in this new YouTube setup.
Yeah, y'all rock. Thanks for coming out, guys. Be safe. Happy gaming.
Here we go. All right. Yeah, we're out, guys. Thanks.
See you next time.
Toasty.
D-Batch is a weird bitch.